You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
It's 3/3/15. Hard to believe it's already March 3rd, 2015. I'm your host, Alex Jones. Benjamin Netanyahu has been speaking for much of the hour. Continuing into this hour, we're going to give you blow-by-blow of some of the things he's saying. He's coming out saying days when Jewish people remain passive in the face of genocidal aggression are over. We've got the latest with ISIS forces engaging in new battles inside Iraq and Syria. Obama says he's very interested in raising taxes through executive action, and the White House is defending bullet bans today, with the White House spokesman saying that, hey, it's common sense for the president to act unilaterally, basically as a dictator. And a new video out, linked on drudgereport.com, with Mark Dice, has Obama supporters endorsing Karl Marx as the next president of the United States. We're going to go to that report, come back, and kick off our live coverage of Benjamin Netanyahu addressing Congress and more. I'm Alex Jones.
Karl Marx has been an economic advisor to the Obama administration for many years. Obama's decided to elevate him to the level of presidency, full endorsement. Should we continue with that policy to lead us to the road of prosperity and to the utopia we've all hoped for?
I feel if we all desire to, we should. That if he decides to lead on and try to pick better decisions, I feel he would.
Continue with the Marxist economic policies to lead us to the utopia that we've all really hoped for.
Yeah.
Obama has chosen Karl Marx, the economic advisor that he's had, to be the next president for the Democrats. Do you think that we should continue with his Karl Marx economic policies to lead us to the road to prosperity? Is that a wise decision?
Sure. Sounds like the best plan of action right now.
We've come such a long way in the last, 6 years, 7 years that Obama's been in office. And so, as you probably saw, Obama has been taking his economic advice from Karl Marx, top Obama economic advisor. Now Obama chose him to become the nominee for the Democrats. Good decision. Continue down that road.
Yes.
With those policies, lead us to the, really the utopia that we've all been hoping for.
Yes, I hope we can look forward to a good year coming up.
Our election with Karl Marx continuing and passing on the baton and continuing with those policies.
Sure, why not?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The 2016 presidential election.
It's right around the corner.
It's already being
it's
talked
happening.
about.
It's
We're
happening.
already talking about it. President Obama nominated Karl Marx as Treasury Secretary to become the nominee for the Democrats. Do you think that's a wise decision on Obama's part? Do you think
I think Obama's making a good decision right here. I think he's going to do a good job in office, and hopefully he gets elected.
And Karl Marx could rise from Treasury Secretary to President to continue his economic policies?
That would be awesome to see him rise, because he's doing a good job so far, and I can only imagine.
Yeah, his economic policies as a president, Karl Marx could maybe fix America, right?
That would be pretty awesome. It's right around the corner, so I don't see why not. We just need the right guy, and Karl Marx seems to be the best candidate so far.
Who in the hell is Karl Marx?
He's been the Treasury Secretary and an economic advisor for Obama for the last...
I'm way out of that loop, my friend, so I don't have any advice to give you.
Doesn't ring a bell?
Nope, not at all.
Any thoughts on Karl Marx at all? And what he's done for the country and his economic policies?
No, I don't.
Does Karl Marx ring a bell at all? Doesn't ring a bell?
No.
Okay.
I'll have to Google who Karl Marx is. I don't know.
Hold on, but do you...
Well, no, I gotta go.
Okay. We've trusted Obama this far. Do you think that we could trust him handing the baton off to Karl Marx to continue his economic policies and bring us back to prosperity?
I don't know, maybe. Possibility. You never know at this point. Just gotta let it happen and see.
Pretty good idea, wouldn't you say?
I guess. I mean, I don't really follow it. I don't. That's all.
All right. Well, thank you, comrade.
All right. All right.
The average person's life is filled with unexpected challenges. Unlock the energy it takes to defeat these daily beasts with super male or super female vitality, specifically designed to assist the body in regulating proper hormone balance to create superior vitality in males and females. Supercharge and conquer your world at InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139.
The government's Department of Homeland Security is buying up loads of ammo. At the same time, they're restricting civilians' rights to own and purchase firearms. Can you put two and two together? Infidel Body Armor can stop every round, including hollow points and .308 sniper rounds, is reasonably priced and fully legal. But for how long? Go to InfidelBodyArmor.com, spelled INFIDEL bodyarmor.com. Infidel Body Armor. Just won't quit.
Alex Jones here. For the last 2 years, I've been working with top doctors, nutritionists, and chemists to design a nutraceutical formulation that has truly life-changing health benefits. So many other formulations out there contain toxic ingredients, synthetic additives, and even GMOs. Introducing the all-new Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Blend, crafted with over 14 key ancient herbs and extracts to supercharge and prepare your body for what experts admit is the most dangerous season of the year. We have rejected hundreds of other formulations in our quest to bring you what is simply the most powerful and comprehensive proprietary formula that we have ever created in the realm of herbal immunity. Experience the benefits of combining over 14 ancient herbs and extracts with exciting new advances in nutraceutical science. Now is the time to secure Ancient Defense for you and your family. Visit InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
You can now listen to The Alex Jones Show live on the free TuneIn Radio app, featuring over 100,000 real radio stations, over 4 million podcasts streaming live from every continent, offering unprecedented access to listen to anything, anywhere. TuneIn lets you listen to over 100,000 real radio stations and more than 4 million podcasts from every continent, 200,000 mobile downloads per day. Available on iPhone, iPad, Android tablets, Windows 8, BlackBerry, Amazon Kindle. Available in over 200 branded products with millions of devices sold worldwide, including Samsung Smart TV, Roku, Sonos, Sony PlayStation, Amazon Echo, Panasonic Viera TV, Logitech Squeezebox. TuneIn brings streaming radio to cars, including GM, Ford, BMW, Tesla, Mercedes-Benz, Volvo, Nissan, Fiat, and more.
What's his name?
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
I hereby declare this to be an unlawful assembly. I order all those assembled to immediately disperse.
It's a military mission in North St. Louis. Heavily armored vehicles are rolling into town.
And don't be alarmed if you see those over the next 7 days rolling through your neighborhood.
If you see military helicopters flying low over Minneapolis, do not be alarmed.
Guns will be taken. No one will be able to be armed. We will take all weapons.
Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in.
Just really brainwash people into thinking about guns in a vastly different way.
Enough.
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 Enough. The Department of Homeland Security is apparently on a huge ammo buying spree.
It comes out to like 1.6 billion rounds of ammunition.
NSKSLA News 12 Jeff Farrell discovered that clergy would help the government with potentially their biggest problem, us.
So part of it is we have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole communities.
If you got a business, that you didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen.
Mercury-containing vaccines may help, not harm kids, according to 2 new studies in the journal Pediatrics.
Black Hawk choppers soaring through the night sky, but this is only a drill.
Heavily armed officers in Watertown search for the suspect, house to house.
joint military training exercise involving local police, also military.
In your apartment!
I am in my apartment, sir.
Go back inside right now!
I am inside. I have 2 words for you. Predator drones. You will never see it coming.
The dramatic scene played out in front of our cameras. Parents grabbing their children and running after spending the night hunkering in their houses and then finding themselves face to face with the muzzle of a SWAT officer's rifle.
They let them in the area. They told them they could come in, and now they're coming in like they're trespassers, punching and shoving people.
We're not turning our guns in, and we're not running, and we're not backing down. If you want them, come and take them.
We are on the march. The Empire is on the run. Live from the Infowars.com studios, it's Alex Jones.
The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
This is the heart of 1776. We're broadcasting worldwide on 3/3, the 3rd day of March 2015. Benjamin Netanyahu has just basically completed a lengthy speech before the Congress. We're going to be breaking down some of the powerful things that he basically said, because regardless of which side of this debate you're on, there were some major statements. The days when the Jewish people remain passive in the face of genocidal aggression are over. Broadcast networks refuse to carry it. Enraged Pelosi freaks out on the floor. We've got video of all of this we're going to be queuing up. I mean, I really am in a paradox here because I have a lot of problems with some of the things Israel does. But at the same time, I'm not an enemy of Israel. And I know Israel's a diverse country that has been attacked at least 7 times by major armies and by itself defeated them. But then I also understand a lot of the Israel lobby is over here lobbying to secure a police state in the U.S., to secure their economic foothold, and to secure the U.S. as a backstop for Israel. So I have a lot of resentment over the Israel lobby. But my concern is no one looks at the defense lobby. No one looks at the big banking lobby. No one looks at the globalist giant Latin American lobby to open up the borders and attach to the welfare. No one looks at the different cartels that are out there operating. People only look at Israel and obsess on Israel all day. And it's just not reasonable. I really try to come to the truth with what's going on in the world. And when they've had British prime ministers address Congress just a few years ago, and when they've, going back to Winston Churchill, and when they've had other Israeli prime ministers address Congress, or French presidents address Congress, it's almost always carried by television. And so Obama said he wasn't going to watch it. Pelosi freaked out and tried to keep him from speaking. And I understand at a certain level, this is about political grandstanding. For Netanyahu, who's facing re-election, I'm just being cold-blooded here and laying out the facts, and by the Democrats and liberals worldwide with the socialists that are anti-Israel to the core. But then there's the paradox of the Democratic leadership getting massive money from different arms of the Israel lobby. And so the whole thing's very incestuous, very hard to figure out. But at the bottom of the barrel, and at the bottom of the whole situation, if you go to a leftist event, they are promoting Karl Marx, they are promoting the end of the family, they are promoting world government, they are promoting violent revolution, they are promoting attack the police, and they are promoting Israel is the source of all evil and handing out and selling anti-Semitic pamphlets. Then the very same group will run around claiming brown bags are racist and having a fiesta party at your fraternity is racist. No, people like to wear sombreros and get drunk and have a food truck come with enchiladas. The Mexican fraternities have those too. The Hispanic fraternities. It's the very same group in the left will hype racism that is non-existent or exaggerate stuff that's there in vestigial to create infighting and balkanization while obsessing 24/7 on Jews. And it's acceptable in leftist ideology to kind of go along with the idea that there is a Jewish conspiracy of colonialism. That's the spin. The Klan says it's a Jewish conspiracy of banking. And then the left says, no, it's a Jewish conspiracy of basically fascist capitalism. And then when you look at it, you know, most legends like this have some kernel of truth. There are a bunch of big financiers and people like the Rothschilds that are Jewish. There are a bunch of Fed chairmen and people of the past that have been Jewish. And certainly that's something that a lot of Jews work to be in the top of finance because it's a very prestigious position. Just like you go in to find the top heart surgeon and maybe out of 10 of them in your city, you know, half of them are Jewish. So, I mean, nobody can deny the fact that Jews are, on average, overachievers, high educations. All I know is this statement that Jews are evil inherently when Jews are such a diverse group of people and constantly fighting with each other like every other group and runs the gamut from right-wing to communist to libertarian, like Aaron Russo, or Matt Drudge or so many others. I'm just sick of the stereotyping. And then the globalist above that, the very same globalists that use socialism as their control system, they are using Jews as, again, the bygone boogeyman to basically scapegoat the whole debate and just say, well, if it wasn't for Jews, there wouldn't be any problems in this world. Really, Mao Zedong killed 80-something million people, if you believe the Chinese numbers. CIA says 65, 64, 66 million. There weren't any Jews involved in that last time I checked. And I've just seen losers throughout my life who will blame a racial or religious group for all of their problems because they themselves don't want to get up and work hard and take action and work with other people and have a good attitude. That's what it comes down to. And this comes from somebody who's been savaged by the leftist arm of the Jewish lobby, not so much the Israel lobby, because, again, there's subgroups within all these groups. It's too simple just to use one name. They've lied about me. They've come after me. They've demonized me. They've said I'm anti-Semitic. They've said I'm racist. They've said I want to get cops killed. I mean, George Soros is a Jew, and he's a Nazi collaborator who helped round up and ferret out and rob Jews. He admits it. He's proud of it. He said he's not ashamed of it. He, quote, survived. The guy runs organizations dedicated to shutting down talk radio, internet freedom, and this show. He gave $196 million with the U.S. government matching him and the Ford Foundation. The Ford Foundation is basically governmental. That came out in Congress in the 70s and the church committees. Anthony Sutton got the documents. So the globalists and the government want to destroy me. So if being anti-Semitic means I'm against a Nazi collaborator Jew who's anti-free speech and anti-America, then I'm anti-Semitic. You better believe it. Just like both my grandfathers in World War II must have been anti-Semitic, both almost dying in the Army Air Corps. I'm sick of it, and I'm tired of it. I don't like a bunch of the stuff Israel's doing. Israel's corrupt like any other country. Let's get that straight and stop acting like it's on a pedestal and can do no wrong. We should criticize Israel when Israel does evil, corrupt stuff, like helping fund al-Qaeda to take down Libya and take down Syria, and that is immoral and wrong. But you can't just then obsess over Israel involved. You got to then say Turkey, Saudi Arabia, the U.S., France, NATO, British intelligence, up to their eyeballs in it. And that's my point, is that you cannot just sit there and point at one group and say they're the problem. It's more complex than that. The Rothschilds are on record, at least one of the 5 arms of the family, financing Hitler. You can look that up. But then some Rothschilds didn't get out of France and were killed by the Nazis. There's been books written on it. A lot of rich Jews ran operations with the Nazis, fencing Jews out of Europe, making them pay them money or only going to Israel. That's why people like Dr. Pachenik, who's Jewish, is so angry at the Jewish lobby, because he knows a lot of them are the children of rich Jews who made their fortunes sucking off Jews like Madeleine Albright. So, I mean, these are the dirty secrets. And you know, as someone who is a lay historian, it's just all right there. And it's too complex. And so there's an obsession with Jews, an obsession with Israel, I'm obsessed with people and their personal ideas and what they stand for. Like Martin Luther King said, that's what I'm into. We'll be back to talk about Netanyahu's speech, take your calls and more.
It's no secret that government and big business buy in bulk and get huge discounts not available to the little guy. Until now. Introducing a breakthrough crowd buying website where people can join together, buy in bulk, and get massive discounts on millions of popular products. It's TogetherSave.com. TogetherSave.com. You can save 20, 30, or even 50% off tablets, smartphones, cars, appliances, textbooks, sports equipment, video games, and much more. All with free delivery. Check it out. TogetherSave.com. Visit now and start group buying today at TogetherSave.com.
Hey, Boomer! I learned in school today that 60% of our bodies are made of water. Good thing we have the Berkey system. It's the cleanest, best water ever. Mom says it's because the Berkey's filtration system cleans out the bad stuff and leaves only pure, delicious water. I know, right? You love it too. Yeah, I'm thirsty too. Let's go get some. Get Berkey clean water by calling 877-886-3653. That's 877-886-3653. Or visit GoBerkey.com.
It's time to kick some ash because cigarettes have met their match. Smokers are switching to Vaporite e-liquid by LeSig because when you kick ash, you kick tar and smelly smoke too. LeSig smokes the competition with real people customer service, a 7-day satisfaction guarantee, and same-day fast free shipping. Become a vapor today at LeSig.com, spelled LECIG.com. LeSig e-cigarettes. Kick some ash. Attention Alex Jones listeners. When you're on the road or have limited data or Wi-Fi, now you can listen to Alex Jones unfiltered and untapped at no extra charge on this non-federal phone number, 1-605-562-5136. Try it now to listen to Alex Jones 24/7 at no extra cost or data charges. These are not on federal lines. These are lines located on Indian reservations off the grid. Call 1-605-562-5136. No smartphones or internet needed. To hear Alex Jones untapped and off the grid, just call 1-605-562-5136.
As the New World Order continues to tighten its grip on every facet of our lives, we're all asking ourselves, how can we maintain our independence? The answer is clear. Get prepared, and you get prepared now. Now the only question left is, where do we begin? My Patriot Supply is here to help. Call 800-247-3070 to get started with your 72-hour emergency food supply for only $10. We're even covering the cost of shipping. Are you willing to rely on the government and FEMA in the event of an emergency? Call 800-274-3070 to get started with your 72-hour emergency food supply for only $10. You won't be able to find this deal online, and there is a strict limit of 4 per caller, so don't wait. Call now, 800-274-3070. That's 800-274-3070. Call right now.
Usually, the older one gets, the less you are able to absorb amino acids and the less you are able to repair the 100 trillion cells of your body. As a result, you'll have less energy, your tissues will shrink, and you'll become wrinkled. An older person will typically injure more easily and heal more slowly. Not fun. However, if you can consume a protein powder that is easier to absorb, then you may be able to gain back some strength, muscle, and speed of recovery. One World Whey is a highly digestible whey protein powder that may be the perfect answer for you.
My name is Errol. I'm 74 years old. You know, the taste of One World Whey is amazing. I play pickleball, and since taking One World Whey and your trace mineral supplement, I have more energy and recover faster from my working out. I used to take another grass-fed whey protein powder, but now I'm getting much better results using One World Whey.
Call 888-988-3325. That's 888-988-3325. Or visit oneworldwhey.com.
Alex Jones here, back live. We're going to be going over some of Benjamin Netanyahu's speech. I want to give you, the American people, but also folks living in the Middle East, folks living in Israel, a chance to call in and give us your take, first-time callers, on what you think of Netanyahu's speech and the bizarre arm flapping and chicken with a head cut off behavior of Obama and Pelosi trying to keep him from speaking, the network's not carrying it, running around freaking out. Are they trying to give the U.S. cover politically when Israel strikes Iran? Is this all just theater? The smart money is on that. But that's at the top of the pyramid. Below that, there is real hatred for Israel. And this is the experience I've had. I know Israel's diverse, different political parties, different ideas. I have a love-hate relationship with some of the people that are in Israel, some of the things that have been done to me for no reason. There's a lot of bullying because Israel feels like Israel's right, so you better get 100% behind Israel or you're the enemy. That's wrong. And that's why Israel's lost a lot of support in the world. That said, Israel is not the end-all, be-all, only thing on the planet. And I don't mean by the Israelis having that view of themselves. Everybody thinks they're the center of the universe wherever they live at. That's what Texans think. That's what Americans think. That's what Germans think. It's what Chinese think. It's what Mexicans think. That's just normal. I'm talking about people outside of Israel and the Arabs. And all these Arab countries won't let the Palestinians in, won't give them aid. The Palestinians constantly try to overthrow whatever country they're in. I'm not demonizing the Palestinians. I'm just saying they're used as a political football to manipulate everyone, and Israel is held to a higher standard. And it is a religion to hate Israel. So I've got a lot of problems with Israel. Some of the people in Israel, some of the political parties, some of the groups. But at the same time, it's a paradox because I've never experienced more vitriolic hatred as I have from the anti-Israel crowd. They will make stuff up. They will exaggerate. They will lie. Everyone is a Jew. I don't care if your last name's Jones, Richardson, Green, Johnson, Sanchez, Chin. Everyone is a Jew. The Jews are all powerful. They're running everything. I never had success. I wasn't a good talk radio host. I never borrowed a dime, but they claim I'm financed by secret Jewish cabals. It's very frustrating to be included on all the Nazi websites out there and white supremacist websites, photoshopped in at Jewish events, literally, fake videos, you name it, that I'm some Israeli agent. Never been to Israel. I do want to travel there. It's amazing, I'm told, to see all that history. I want to go to Syria. That's got even more ruins and Roman stuff. So I'm just sick of all the ignorance, basically. And I'm tired of sitting here watching the anti-Israel crowd degenerate by the minute, and then Israel feeling like it's totally encircled, getting more and more out of control, and all these nuclear weapons. This is a dangerous situation. I want prosperity. And when you really study politics and how the world works, you find out Israel has been as bad as the U.S. or Germany or England, 3 of the worst, 4 of the worst, I guess, at secret testing. And by the way, Israel didn't get caught doing testing on Arabs. They got caught testing on Jews. Sephardic Jews, which genetically are true, undisputed Jews. They are a proto-genetic group, pre-Arab, before African invasions of much of the Middle East. Because that's what an Arab is part Anglo, part Asian, and part African. That's just a fact. That's what Arabs are, is a hybrid. And if you look at Sephardic Jews, they have a genetic template that predates from bones they've dug up to about 6,000 to 7,000 years ago in that region of groups pretty much out of Europe. What is Europe today? So you have this whole argument about Ashkenazi Jews and the anthropology, and they're not really Jews because they're from what's Georgia today or north of Georgia. It's Europeans, ladies and gentlemen. And then you've got later permutations of Jews in Babylonian captivity, in Egyptian captivity, and other captivities. And so you do have an Arab line of genetics in the Jews. But that's who they are. So when you get into this more ancient text claiming there's these lost tribes in Europe, that's because that's what's so ridiculous about all this, is that Jews, original Jews, are just Europeans in the Middle East. And then you've got just all of this idiocy. It is just pure, absolute idiocy. And then the modern Jews are part Arab, So being anti-Semitic means being anti-Arab too. It's just all, the public is so ignorant about this, and the governments play us off against each other. I'm going to give the number out, 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. I want your take on it. I think it's clearly illegal. Remember the former head of the EPA? She had to step down. She had to step down a few years ago. What was her name, CJ?
Her name is Lisa Jackson.
That's right, Lisa Jackson Lee or whatever it was. Thank you. We're teleprompter free, but sometimes when I have a brain flatulence, as they're scientifically called, the guys come to my aid with the information I need. So she had to step down because that was illegal. Does this ruin Hillary's chances to run? I hope so. Can Jeb Bush just sit down and shut up? And can Hillary Clinton just sit down and shut up? We've had enough Jeb Bushes and Hillary Clintons. I've got an article here today showing how Goldman Sachs is pumping money at record levels into both of these establishment people. And let's go back to that article the crew just found and put on screen. There's a blast from the past, 2013, 2 years ago. Newly released emails show EPA directors extensive use of fictional alter ego, fake email. And no one's really doing that tie-in that I've seen. We should have one of our great writers, whether it's Steve Watson, Paul Watson, Adon Salazar, Kit Daniels, Kurt Demo, Mikhail Thalen, or someone else, do an article saying, will Hillary be punished like the EPA had for fake emails? Because it is illegal on so many fronts. There are a lot of developments unfolding, ladies and gentlemen, that we'll also be breaking down as the next few hours progresses. But today, at least for the balance of this hour, ahead of several guests joining us, we can talk about the Jewish obsession. I don't have one. I mean, I've got friends that are Jews. I respect Jewish culture. I respect culture across the board. I don't hate people. I don't hate black people. I don't hate Hispanics. I don't hate white people. If I'm in the deep South and somebody makes a smart mouth comment about what are you doing around here, Yankee, I don't bow up to folks. I understand that's all they've got, and that 99% of people in the South are not like that. And then I know that in the South, in some towns, they call people in the town next to them Yankees. It just means outsider. But then I don't put movies out and make fun of everybody in the South like Hollywood does. I understand how cultures work, and I want to empower humanity. And the globalists are using balkanization to do the opposite of that. I don't want to destroy Israel. I want to reform Israel. I don't want to destroy the police departments. I want to reform the police departments. I don't want a revolution. I want a restoration of Americana freedom-based values. Lord Monckton is joining us from Science and Public Policy to break down the latest carbon tax push and more, and to give his take on other geopolitical affairs. And then Joel Gilbert, because we've had members of Congress and others come out and basically say that Obama is heavily connected, wink, wink, to a famous communist pornographer, wink, wink, who he admittedly lived with for a long time, wink, wink, and who is pretty much a dead ringer for his father. And was, quote, best friends with his grandfather. So we're going to have Joel Gilbert on just to discuss Obama in general and to get his take on what's currently unfolding and more. But I do want to go to your phone calls on the subject of Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu, because I don't see this as Israel good, everybody else bad, or Israel bad, everybody else good. I see this as what's really going on geopolitically right now. And what does all this stand for? Well, if Israel's really getting ready to hit Iran, Iran is probably going to respond with asymmetrical warfare. They'll call it terrorism in the news. That will then be used to take my freedoms. It will hurt the economy, and it could cause a nuclear war. But then I also get Israel's perspective when Iran constantly shoots their mouths off. There's always apologists out there saying, oh, they didn't really say that. No, Iran, the government of Iran, really does say stuff like, we're going to nuke you, we're going to blow you up, we're going to push you into the sea, the Zionist regime. Well, the Zionist regime is the millions of Jews that live there. And so here's the issue for all the anti-Semites and all the people that think if they slip on a banana peel, a Jew did it. Do you understand Israel probably has around 800 nuclear weapons, the most high-tech type? They've got German submarines to launch the cruise missiles. They've got medium-range ballistic missiles. They've got tactical weapons, and they've got spies all over the place in the Middle East and in Europe and you name it. I mean, it's like a Mexican standoff. Everybody's pointing guns at each other. Let's just not pull the trigger. Let's all just sit down and order some food and kick back and order a glass of wine and not kill each other like Ron Paul says. So he's demonized. And you got a lot of factions. The military-industrial complex want more war. You got a lot of crazies in the Middle East want more war. You got Israel involved with the West, all guilty, like our military said 2 years ago, of arming al-Qaeda to attack Syria. A war crime, killing Christians. I'm very angry with Israel. I'm very angry with our own government. I'm very angry with Turkey. But see, I'm not especially angry with Israel because I'm not a mindless hater. I hate the criminals that globally came up with the decisions at the Bilderberg Group, Club of Rome, globalist level, and then everybody from Saudi Arabia to Israel to Turkey to France to the United States got in line to engage in war crimes all over the Middle East using proxy armies out of Saudi Arabia. Shame on Israel. Shame on Benjamin Netanyahu. And shame on everybody out there that purely worships him as a messianic leader and thinks, whatever, Alex, you better get behind Israel. I'm not against Israel. But doing things like this, funding al-Qaeda in the Middle East, is evil. And then sitting around saying we've got to attack Iran. They're funding al-Qaeda because al-Qaeda's enemies with Iran. People say, well, Alex, that's a Machiavellian move. That's how you win. No, that's how you lose the moral high ground. But I'll say this, shame on the U.S. government. Shame on France. Shame on NATO. Oh, no, 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 don't do that. Only see, here he is covering up for Israel. That's the mental illness of just, you know what, the anti-Semites worship Jews. I think that's what it comes down to, is that I don't dislike the NFL, but I'm sick of that's all you hear about for 4 or 5 months out of the year. And most men don't have a life. They just obsess on the NFL all day and play fantasy football. It's mentally ill. And the same thing, I don't hate Israel, but man, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of hearing about it. I'm sick of all the people on both sides, all vitriolically, you know, feeling like they're on the right side when it's all a big manipulation. That's what it comes down to. And you got Saudi Arabia financing anti-free speech initiatives in the U.S. You got Israel financing anti-free speech initiatives. You got George Soros doing it. You got left-wing, right-wing. You got every special interest group out there trying to shut down free speech and trying to take our guns so America, the big empire, can be their toy to go out and be a bully and take over the world for whoever, fill in the blank. And here's the deal. I'm sick of paying for it, like Rand Paul says. I don't want to give aid to China. We give billions to them. I don't want to give aid to Israel. I don't want to give aid to Egypt. I don't want to give aid to anybody, not Mexico, no one. I'm sick of it. I don't want to pay for Chinese and Mexican and German women to come here and have their babies paid for and be put on welfare and see it advertised on CNN how great it is to do it. Yeah, I don't like illegals getting free in-state tuition and free scholarships, and then I got to pay for it. Yeah, you're right, not because I hate Latin Americans. If I came down there and got everything free from them, they'd really be upset with me. I'm sick of unfairness. I'm sick of garbage. And I'm sick of people who are ignorant. And the only reason the globalists can get away with this is because the public is ignorant. I'm going to go to your phone calls. Jim, Alan, John, Brian, Sleestack, and others coming up here in just a moment. But look at these type of clips. I want to play this clip. White House spokesman Josh Earnest says ammo ban proposal is common sense. There's another clip, a little jewel from him this morning. Obama won't watch Netanyahu's speech to Congress. And I'm not really gone over his speech yet because it's more of the same. It's a repeat of what he said to AIPAC. Days when Jewish people remain passive in the face of genocidal aggression are over. He says the talks going on paved the way to Iran to get the bomb. Iran's, from what I've been told, I mean, look, Pakistan's got about 100. India's got a couple hundred. China's got a couple thousand. South Africa had nukes, for heaven's sakes, back in the 80s. Saudi Arabia it basically brags they've got nukes now, kind of like Israel does. We're not going to say we have nukes, but look out. I mean, do you really believe the Saudis don't have nukes? They bragged last year they had them, and I told you years before they did, because I have high-level sources. High level, everybody knows it. So from people I trust in special operations and other areas, that they've seen the scans. They've seen the scans from satellite that picks up the trace imminences, the trace radiation of fissile material configured that matches the signature of basically atomic bombs. The difference is what Iran has is tinker toys compared to what Israel has. And do you really think the mullahs that were doing backroom deals with Ronald Reagan to hold the hostages till they did arms transfers in Iran-Contra? I mean, the mullahs were put in by the CIA in '79, and this has all been declassified, in a double cross of the Shah, who wasn't playing ball with the globalists, and they gave him a weak, version of cancer. One of those sped up versions that kills you in a week. One of those overnight cancers. See, I happen to really know the real history of all this, which you could find out too if you wanted to. I'm talking to new listeners out there. I mean, Iran, I'm not saying the globalists run Iran either. It's just that it's all a divide and conquer strategy. Let's play that clip of White House spokesman Josh Earnest, because this is the stuff that's going on while we're busy obsessing over Israel. Hey, I kind of like that. It's like a chipmunk.
It's being considered through its standard process, and it's open now for public comment, and that we are looking at additional ways to protect our brave men and women in law enforcement, and believe that this process is valuable for that reason alone. This seems to be an area where everyone should agree that if there are armor-piercing bullets available that can fit into easily concealed weapons, that it puts our law enforcement at considerably more risk. So I put this in the category of common sense steps that the government can take.
This is how they passed the '68 Gun Control Act. It's basically only used on law-abiding citizens and made crime explode. The idea that, oh, they can conceal bullets that could kill cops. All bullets are human killers. That includes police. And 223 is used in a fraction. All assault weapons, the statistic out from the Justice Department a few years ago is 2%. And then what's 223 of that? Let's say it's half, a guesstimate. That's 1%. So if they can bring down the AR-15 and they can bring down the 223, they can bring it all down. Let's go to your phone calls. Jim in West Virginia, you're on the air. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, hi, Alex. I watched the excellency being introduced. To me, it just seemed like a total dictatorship trying to preach to the U.S. Congress, and it really upsets me. I think if it was and vice versa, that wouldn't happen. To me, it is just, a scam, but he never did mention what is the good deal. What is he so upset about? What seems to be aggravating him? It was all poor Israel, Israel history, background, and the things we know. We know the Holocaust. Every year we're constantly reminded of it. We never will be allowed to forget it. But what is the deal that he was talking about? Why is he so upset?
Well, the deal is to let Iran have supposedly peaceful reactors that get inspected and not be able to build up enough reactors to actually produce a bomb for 10 years. And Iran's already said that it's not acceptable. And so I think Israel's issue is they're not going to let Iran become a nuclear power or Iraq, and that they will attack like they did Iraq in 1980 or 1981. I forget which year it was. And that they have a right to self-determination to do it. And I think the issue is that Israel is kind of like the 51st state, but it's also, people don't like the fact that Israel has diplomatic immunity of a type where Jews can commit crimes here in the U.S., then run back to Israel, and then Israel will protect them. There's a lot of things about Israel that upset me, that I criticize, that are unfair, and that's why we talk about it. The whole right of return thing. Pick a side, decide. You know, it's like Rahm Emanuel didn't fight in the U.S. Air Force. He was an officer in the Israeli Air Force. And so this is the thing that sticks in people's craw, and I fully understand it. I'm just saying there are a lot of other issues. I mean, basically, the Saudi Arabians have diplomatic immunity. The United Nations has diplomatic immunity. They're now giving the big carbon tax banks diplomatic immunity. So this is what globalism is a new class where if you're a UN bureaucrat or you're a mercenary or you're an Israeli or you work for the Vatican or you work for the UN or any of the NGOs that are part of it, you're now literally above the law. I mean, Houston police and New York police have caught UN diplomats with slaves chained up. They've caught them with trucks full of cocaine. They cannot stop them or arrest them. So, yeah, I don't like Israel basically having diplomatic immunity, but I don't like the other couple dozen groups either. That's what I'm saying. Israel's going with a pattern that's been done before by other groups, and it's a very successful pattern. It is exploitive of many people in the Middle East. That's well known. It's exploitive of poor Jews coming out of Europe, coming into Israel. I mean, I remember Israel got caught selling organs of political dissidents and denied it and called doctors that exposed it in Europe anti-Semites, and it came out it was true. Talk about evil. But here's the deal. Our military got caught with private contractors taking organs in Iraq. It turns out Saudi Arabia is selling them. So is China. Humans act the same. Our problem is evil people and bureaucracies. And our problem is when a group does something evil, that group tends to cover it up to protect the group when all that does is discredit the group. I mean, like police departments that cover up corruption end up collapsing from corruption long term. It feels good for a while, but it destroys them. Same thing with Israel. When Israel says we're under attack, so we can do whatever we want, Israel becomes as bad as any other group they claim they're fighting. And so that's where I stand. In fact, we'll play some of BB's introduction. It always makes me sick whenever a U.S. president speaks at the UN. They call him Your Excellency. But we'll play the intro of BB being introduced. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Harvest Right, the makers of the only in-home freeze dryer, would like to present to you their greenhouses that double as emergency shelters. Their greenhouses simply snap together, no tools needed. As a greenhouse, it will stand for decades. It's incredibly strong, long-lasting, and it can be quickly put up or taken down. It is also ideal when used as an emergency shelter. Learn more about this great greenhouse and the money you can save over the big box store prices at harvestright.com. That's harvestright.com.
By now, you heard about Bitcoins, but did you know that over 65,000 businesses accept Bitcoins? Listen, if you're already earning Bitcoins or trying to make money in the Bitcoin market, you've got to know bidbit.co, because at bidbit.co, you can receive Bitcoin by selling your personal items or business products. You heard right. Whether personal or business, you can now buy, sell, and auction your products quickly, easily, and securely at bidbit.co. That's bit.co. bidbit.co.
More and more people are discovering the incredible benefits of alkalizing the body, and there's no better product for it than AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops. Packed with a powerful combination of the most alkaline minerals and compounds, just a few drops in water will rid your body of harmful waste and give you more vibrance and vigor than you've had in years. Now buy 2 bottles and get $10 off your order. Call 800-518-7615 or visit alkavision.com. Alkalize your body. Supercharge your health at alkavision.com.
Are you hungry for delicious, nutritious, rich, and satisfying home-cooked meals? Discover the Vita Clay 4-in-1 Smart Organic Cooker. Unglazed Zisha clay, an ancient secret that makes this fast multi-cooker so special. Infusing your food with incredible flavors, perfect texture, vitamins, and minerals for your good health. It's a slow cooker, rice cooker, a steamer, plus a yogurt maker. Go to VitaClayChef.com and enter promo code RADIO20 for 20% off at checkout. That's VitaClayChef.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and slingshots sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
This is an alert. If your business or church is building this year, you're about to pay more than you should. This could mean thousands of dollars more for your office, retail space, church, or warehouse. A General Steel building can save you as much as half the cost and time of similar conventional construction. And we're offering rebates of up to $20,000 to help you build today. Call General Steel for free information that could save you thousands. Call 866-91-STEEL. 866-91-STEEL. That's 866-917-8335.
Of Congress, I have the high privilege and distinct honor of presenting to you the Prime Minister of Israel, His Excellency Benjamin Netanyahu.
Within a 40-second standing ovation, that is disgusting to use the word excellency. That is UN speak when they introduce kings. And Israel is usually actually low-key about titles and uniforms. So that is not an Israeli affectation. Pretty soon we're going to start calling the Bushes and the Clintons, if they get elected to another term, Your Excellency. We're going to move Lord Moncton back to 20 after so I can continue with your calls before he comes on with a lot of breaking important news. We've got a couple other clips here that we'll play when we start the next hour, with Netanyahu explaining why he's against the Iran deal. And I got to say, I don't get his point that a nuclear attack on Israel is imminent when he's got 800 nuclear weapons and high-tech delivery systems. It's very simple. Netanyahu, in the clip we're going to play, gets into the fact that, well, inspectors don't stop the work, inspectors just report back. Well, if you got cameras and inspectors, and then Iran can be self-sufficient because they can't even refine enough oil to supply their country. Refineries are very expensive and very complex. If they can't have nuclear power, they can't become self-sufficient. And so it's wrong to say to Iran, you can't have reactors, but everybody else can, and Israel can. I get the point that Iran has a lot of really strong rhetoric, and that's wrong. Netanyahu goes on, we're going to play the clip, to say that just because Iran is fighting ISIS doesn't mean they're good. Well, just because Israel and the U.S. funded al-Qaeda to attack a bunch of innocent countries doesn't mean al-Qaeda's good. Yeah, Benjamin, BB, I get it. And I think Israel's a little jealous that the U.S. military is working with Iran to clean out some of the ISIS groups. And it's all a very sick situation. And our military doesn't like it. But I just don't know what we're supposed to do. You know, let Israel attack? Well, that's their prerogative. But what happens then when it drags Russia into it? And there are a lot of Christians, and I'm a Christian myself, but there's these interpretations of cheerleading for the end of the world and getting all excited that, oh, Israel's going to go into Syria and go into Iran. It's going to start a nuclear war, and then Jesus is going to come back. You know, so many people in Nazi Germany, Christians that were rounded up and put in forced labor camps, they thought it was the end of the world and Hitler was the Antichrist. I guess the Bible says there are many Antichrists. I forget which passage that is, but regardless, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want a nuclear war. Let's jam in one more caller in a minute and a half we have before we go to break. Brian in Missouri, what's your take on the BB speech?
Yeah, I've got a theory for you. Speaking of end of the world, as a segue, you know, the ancient prophets Jeremiah and Isaiah talked about the coming destruction of a Babylon or Babylon. John talks about the destruction in the desert of the harlot of the Babylon. Ezekiel, though, specifically talks about the flying scrolls that fly and destroy the 3 ancient cities in the desert, and that they need the baskets to set them on. There's a part of me that thinks that what they're trying to do is get technology into Iran so that Iran can not only take care of ISIS, but also take care of the what has gone on with Saudi Arabia for the last 100
We'll finish
years.
your point when we come back. Stay with us. Second hour straight up.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
The government's Department of Homeland Security is buying up loads of ammo. At the same time, they're restricting civilians' rights to own and purchase firearms. Can you put 2 and 2 together? Infidel Body Armor can stop every round, including hollow points and .308 sniper rounds, is reasonably priced and fully legal. But for how long? Go to InfidelBodyArmor.com, spelled INFIDEL bodyarmor.com. Infidel Body Armor. Just won't quit.
When cells become toxic, they die early and aging sets in. No one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. Just one of the key compounds, BioPQQ, is backed by major clinical studies. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? We now have the synergistic solution. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. Brian in Missouri was getting into what he thinks biblically is happening. Why would the West be backing Iran after backing al-Qaeda for 4 years to destabilize the region? Or is it really just to get the Arabs all killing each other in an inter-Arab, inter-Muslim, Shiite-Sunni religious war, which, again, is incredibly immoral to go start a war that will kill millions? But that's been the policy. I mean, pretty much that's what this comes down to. And then Israel feels threatened by Iran and wants to escalate into a strike and has that lined up with Saudi Arabia. So it is a real conundrum. What's your take on that, Brian?
Well, yeah, just to finish, I think this is why the Mossad is against Netanyahu, because Netanyahu may not be, in the loop on all this. And the bottom line, Ezekiel says these scrolls come from the plains of Shinar, which is where modern-day nuclear facilities for Iran are located. So at the end of the day, I think the big double, triple cross is going to come when Iran takes care of the dirty work for the U.S. and then actually has a deal cut with Russia.
Well, you're right, and the Bible is wild. It talks about flying scrolls, blowing up mountains, and, crafts in the sky that look like metal insects raining down fire. I mean, it just sounds like Apache helicopters. The Bible is really wild. And if it's science fiction, how come so much of it keeps coming true? What's your take on that statement, Brian?
Well, it's not something you can do just with a simple phone call or conversation. And obviously, much has been written by this, but...
All right, brother. Well, listen, I appreciate your call. We're going to take some more calls on the Israel situation, because even if you're sick of it like I am, because it never gets fixed, it never ends. It's just a big crisis that special interests make money out of. All the globalists play with our lives like we're nothing but pawns. The toll-free number to join us is 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. What do you think of Netanyahu's speech, and what is it distracting us from? Alan in Washington, D.C., go ahead.
Hi, good morning.
Welcome.
Afternoon, rather. I want to note that Chris Matthews on MSNBC right after the speech said, quote, "Too many people were smiling during the Netanyahu speech." Just another example of the partisan division that they turn this into. But the bigger picture, I think, is who is Barack Obama who's negotiating with Iran? And I want to alert you of research I've done. I've connected the Obama birth certificate cover-up in Hawaii to a eugenics think tank at the East-West Center. I've connected the mother of the twins who founded Planned Parenthood to Alvin Onaka, I've connected to the Population Association of America and the American Eugenics Society, both organizations that go back to Margaret Sanger. And if you just type in in Google, Hawaii official who certified White House certificate of live birth and mother of twins who claimed to remember President Obama's birth, both tied to U.S. government eugenics think tank.
Send us a link to that. We'd like to research that, and if it's accurate, post it. I know that if you look at Mother Jones Magazine or any of these leftist publications, they'll have ads from the population associations in there that are the eugenics organizations, and it's true that Obama had like a pod person upbringing. All these CIA people, all these cutouts, I mean, he is definitely manufactured. And you really can't figure out who he is. We're going to be talking about that with Joel Gilbert coming up in the third hour. Thank you so much. Adam, Frank, Sleestack is up next. I'm Alex Jones, your host. We're going to hit some other news as well and continue with your calls straight ahead.
The average person's life is filled with unexpected challenges. Unlock the energy it takes to defeat these daily beasts with super male or super female vitality, specifically designed to assist the body in regulating proper hormone balance to create superior vitality in males and females. Supercharge and conquer your world at InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139.
The government's Department of Homeland Security is buying up loads of ammo. At the same time, they're restricting civilians' rights to own and purchase firearms. Can you put two and two together? Infidel Body Armor can stop every round, including hollow points and .308 sniper rounds, is reasonably priced and fully legal. But for how long? Go to InfidelBodyArmor.com, spelled INFIDEL bodyarmor.com. Infidel Body Armor just won't quit.
Used since before the days of the Roman Empire to support the body's natural systems and enhance overall health. Introducing the new InfoWarsLife.com oil of oregano formulation, a highly advanced nutraceutical form of this key herb that has been traditionally used by civilizations for thousands of years to promote health. We have now procured the most high quality and potent forms of oregano oil on the market, sourced from top leading manufacturers to ensure a concentrated level of bioactive ingredients. Extracted directly from the wild herb and sealed in easy-to-use capsules, you will no longer need to endure the burning of liquid oregano on the tongue. Wild crafted from the Mediterranean oregano species that experts agree is one of the most powerful and most challenging to acquire. This winter season, it's more important than ever to secure this true form of oil of oregano. Now available in our limited first run at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.
Another major health threat, this one in Toledo, Ohio, where everybody in the entire city has been told not to drink the water.
Ohio's governor declaring a state of emergency.
Did you know that the average person uses about 80 to 100 gallons of water at home every single day? If there's a water emergency, will you be prepared?
Panicked residents forming long lines throughout the day.
We're here in a supermarket in Toledo. You can see the shelves empty where water once was.
To stay safe and healthy during a crisis, you must have access to safe, clean water. Water which will not be available at your local grocery store.
There's a mad dash on right now to stock up on supplies.
The ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system is a must-have for every modern, independently minded household. Protect your family's safety during an emergency. Go to InfoWarsStore.com today to purchase your ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system or call 1-888-253-3139.
He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Obama is moving to restrict AR-15 M4 variant rifles. And he is moving outside of federal law to ban, as we've been reporting since last week, many of the .223 rounds that are out there claiming they're, quote, cop killers. And by that extension, any bullet could be banned. He has said he's planning a whole bunch of executive actions on the Second Amendment. And now Town Hall reports Obama, quote, very interested in raising taxes through executive action. He already massively raised taxes on the poorest Americans, something he promised he wouldn't do, after manipulating them to vote for him via class warfare. And, of course, he's got Republicans that basically work for the same globalist operation, helping him get Obamacare through, helping him get the open borders through, set to vote on that today in the Homeland Security bill or tomorrow, helping him on every front, not blocking the FCC, power-grabbing the Internet. They're moving on every front right now, and this is red-linked. We'll put it on screen at Infowars.com. We've already reported that I'm getting reports from our sources around the country and seeing local stories, like in Gonzales, Texas, where the DEA and FBI were voted into the police department with grants, not just to advise or have deputy officers that are quasi-federal, but to actually be stationed in the police department. Obama to expand federal control over state local police, like Common Core, DOJ to develop standards for state and local agencies. And then, of course, penalize them if they don't follow federal orders. The Obama administration released a plan to expand federal control over state local law enforcement. That's after the media hypes that there's an epidemic of evil police killing everybody. And it's just like guns. Really, gun crime is way down, but the media shows it and hypes it, and the perception is there's more crime with guns. I'll be honest, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, I took the bait and saw police doing unconstitutional things, doing things, bad departments, robbing people at checkpoints. I got very mad and kind of projected it on police in general and played right along at a primitive level with George Soros and others' plan. But as more and more of it came out, and I watched what they do in Greece and other countries, they're doing this by design. In 2002, we got the IMF World Bank documents when Joseph Stiglitz left the World Bank, where they said, we train the police, we give them tactics that make them unpopular, then we organize a movement against them. So you don't have a revolution against the crooks at the top of the government to fix the country. You blame the lowest level person given the unconstitutional orders. You scapegoat them as society breaks down, and then you basically overthrow that group and then put in your own people. So they're playing us off against each other. And I told you that he would announce federalization of police, and there it is. I mean, over the weekend, The Statesman, USA Today, New York Times, the Austin Chronicle, I'd turn on television. Bad cops, cops are bad, cops are bad, cops are going to rob you, cops are going to kill you, cops are going to. And as much as I don't like some thug Yosemite Sam cop in a power trip telling me I can't videotape a demonstration and threatening me, I get in their face and tell them I'm going to sue them, don't violate my First Amendment. But I'm against that person violating my rights and their rights. I am not going to just sit here and get manipulated into a civil war that's focused at the police. The globalists hate veterans. They hate people trained to use weapons. They hate local government. They hate the police. Everything they do shows it. And George Soros, just like he funded the internet takeover, funded the anti-cop movement. And I will not go along with that piece of trash. And I see through everything these people are doing. And I'm telling you, I just got chills. I really did. We are in so much peril right now. I mean, the enemy is moving on every front. And you can see their battle plan all over the place. We need to reform our legislatures. We need to reform our police. Everything bad. I'm talking 95% of the bad stuff that cops are doing is federal grants. Checkpoints, federal grants. Black uniforms, tasers, instant shooting, no hesitation training, demonization of the patriots. It's all the globalists that have occupied the federal government trying to get the police to be basically their henchmen. So that when the public attacks the police, while the feds and the globalists direct the public to do so, the feds will then be the savior with guidelines and training. So, we won't come after you when you shoot somebody. I mean, you get cities of millions of people, you're going to get innocent people getting shot, and it's a tragedy. You're going to get cops that are scared shooting people. You're going to get crazy psycho cops that occasionally shoot someone in handcuffs. They should have the book thrown at them. They should be put under the jail. That then protects your local government and your county, your city, and your rule of law. Cops get taught by the feds how to cover stuff up. Then the feds come in double-cross them, take them over. And here it is. We're going to go back to your calls. The Obama administration released a plan to expand federal control over state and local law enforcement. The plan released Monday, entitled Task Force 21st Century Policing, advocates the federalization of police agencies. This is the RAND Corporation, National Stability Force. It's always the same thing. The plan released Monday, entitled Task Force 21st Century Policing, advocates the federalization of police agencies across the country by forcing them to adhere to stricter requirements when they receive federal funding, which is our money to begin with. It's just ridiculous. And then it just goes on from there. The U.S. Department of Justice, through the Office of Community-Oriented Policing Services and Office of Justice Programs, should provide technical assistance and incentive funding to jurisdictions with small police agencies and take steps towards sharing services, regional training, and consolidation. That's the state's job, not the Fed's job. One of the numerous recommendations of the plan. This, of course, will be run by the Justice Department that stays fast and furious and lets the big banks rob us and lets derivatives be put on the people's back. The plan also calls for the feds to collect more law enforcement data. Yeah, it's going to be federally mandated, wireless, jacked in, it's all in the plan, cameras on the cops. And you're like, oh, that's good. No, because then they're going to nickel and dime the good cops for doing nothing. And then they're going to, quote, classify and cover up stuff that's really bad. I'm telling you, this is selective enforcement, and it's going to be horrible. I'm for local squad car cameras, and the cops have little digital cameras. That's great. But if the cops all have to have GPS and the cops all have to have cameras on all the time, what's going to happen to us? Well, guess what's coming out? Cameras in all your cars you can't turn off. Toyota announced it 4 years ago. BMW is announcing it. I mean, careful what you wish for, boys and girls. In fact, this is a very serious plan, and I know we can link through to the plan. Let's get some screenshots of the plan. Let's show some of the recommendations. Great job, Kit Daniels, churning that report out at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Meanwhile, we're busy obsessing over Israel and Iran. I mean, I'm just so sick of it. I'm so sick of Iran, Saudi Arabia. Oh, Saudi Arabia is angry. They don't have to go through the TSA, but citizens do. Exactly. Everything is for us. None of it is for security. It's for a power grab. The federal threat fusion centers are in there federalizing our local police. And it's despicable, and it's dangerous, and it's out of control. We should have a separation of powers. We should have state, local, and federal to keep everybody honest. The problem is the feds have been taken over publicly by global government. Do I need to play clips right now of CNBC repeatedly saying foreign banks run America? Aren't we all just slaves of central banks? I mean, that's a fact, folks. We've been conquered. Sleestack in FEMA Region 4. What former state are you in, Sleestack? Okay, let's pipe him through, or maybe Sleestack's gone. Network, you got him?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sleestack. Yep. I mean, you should go ahead and talk, or I'm going to have to let you go.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, basically, as far as all the Israel criticism, I definitely agree that people are completely over the top, you know, and I couldn't agree with you more on that subject. However, I don't feel like you emphasize the Israeli involvement in 9/11 quite enough, because, I mean, you have guys like Wayne Madsen come on, even they talk about, I know the Saudis were definitely involved too, but I just feel like as far as criticism, you know, I defend you a lot when people mention a lot of that stuff. But
I don't need you to defend. I don't want you to defend me, because, you know, I made a film, I produced a film, Fabled Enemies, that is about Israeli involvement in 9/11. That is criminal elements working with Saudi intelligence, as they do closely. And I talk about it all the time, just like Israel's involved with Turkey and Saudi Arabia right now with al-Qaeda. And I had Joel Skousen on yesterday talking about Israeli Arab spies inside ISIS. So it's like people say I don't cover the Federal Reserve, or I don't cover, I mean, it's just not true. But fine. I mean, go ahead. You're on air. We didn't screen your call. Tell us about Israeli involvement. See, that's the way to do it. Just call in and talk about it, because no one's censoring you.
Right. Well, I'm just saying is, you know, all the cats like, you know, Michael Chertoff, Dov Zakheim, the Israeli security at airports, and all the PNAC involvement with Philip Zelikow, Paul Wolfowitz, Richard Pearl, Douglas Feith, George Tenet. It's basically, lately I've just been, hearing you talk about the 28 pages, and who knows exactly what they're going to say, but, I just hear this constant, Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia, and it's like, yeah, absolutely, but...
Well, that's because that's in the 28 pages, and we know where the hijackers came from. We know there was a stand down. I've interviewed the head of the U.S. Embassy visa section who exposed all this 14 years ago on the show. So I know we can prove that, and I can prove the government covered it up and stood down, and that's enough to send Al Capone to prison, baby. I will take what I can prove.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I fully support you, Alex.
Well, God bless you, brother, and I appreciate you. And listen, we don't have to agree on Israel completely to, we all want free market, Second Amendment, due process. I just don't want to get caught up in this Middle Eastern power struggle battle. The globalists want us. There's a reason the government and the ADL and Southern Poverty Law Center and folks sock puppet these white supremacist groups.
When an emergency happens, you could be left to fend for yourself and your family. An outbreak of contagious disease can happen anywhere. Because we're faced with more diseases than ever before, we need a better solution than ever before. Fortunately, there is a simple, effective way to protect yourself. Supernatural Silver is a revolutionary silver solution that is clinically shown to be several hundred times more effective than colloidal or ionic silver. And it's powerful enough to help protect you and your family from deadly viruses, bacteria, and fungus. Supernatural Silver is effective against more than 500 different disease-causing pathogens without encouraging drug resistance and without side effects. Supernatural Silver is scientifically supported and is the #1 choice of thousands for improved health and immune system support. Go to supernaturalsilver.com and use the code SILVER2015 for 30% off. That's supernaturalsilver.com. Give yourself and your loved ones a fighting chance.
What good is a Big Berkey water filter?
We get that question a lot here at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. And in a word, the answer is protection. Protection from water main breaks, E. coli contamination, environmental chemical spills, pesticide runoff, chlorine taste and smell, and all forms of fluoride. Plus, Big Berkey water filters are the original gravity water filter system and most trusted on the market for a reason. Tested by multiple independent NSF EPA certified labs, they are the gold standard in water purification. At only 1.7 cents a gallon, a single set of filters can last for 5 to 10 years. That means big savings. Big Berkey, the one that's powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get a Big Berkey today at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. GCN listeners receive 5% off all ceramic filter systems. Visit our website or call 1-877-99-BERKEY. That's 877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
I'm really glad my buddy Mark turned me on to guns80.com. I got to tell you, I didn't want to buy any more firearms. I didn't want a paperwork trail headed back to Big Brother. I want 100% privacy. I want to be an invisible gun owner. Hello? So Mark says, hey, guns80.com, Ghost AR-15. Ghost means invisible. Get it? Ghost AR-15. Guns80.com. I got a couple, if you know what I mean. Go to guns80.com or call 844-2GUNS80.
Harvest Right, the makers of the only in-home freeze dryer, would like to present to you their greenhouses that double as emergency shelters. Their greenhouses simply snap together, no tools needed. As a greenhouse, it will stand for decades. It's incredibly strong, long-lasting, and it can be quickly put up or taken down. It is also ideal when used as an emergency shelter. Learn more about this great greenhouse and the money you can save over the big box store prices at harvestright.com. That's harvestright.com.
It's very easy to be a criminal. All you need to burglarize a home is one simple household tool, a pair of scissors. If your home security system can be compromised by a criminal using scissors, then you're making it easy for them. Almost every home security system, even those sold by big-name companies, has a weakness: the phone line. You shell out $1,500, get locked into a long-term contract, and think you're safe. But a burglar can destroy your alarm in seconds with one snip. And when a burglar cuts your phone line, you're defenseless. Simply Safe Home Security is the smarter choice. Built by Harvard engineers, Simply Safe uses a wireless connection to call the cops. Scissors can't cut it. And that means your home stays safe. 24/7 professional monitoring is under $15 a month with no contract. Simply Safe Home Security keeps you safer than the other guys for half the cost. Protect your home with the alarm you can trust. Simply Safe. Go to simplysafedefense.com now for an exclusive 10% offer. That's simplysafedefense.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Alex Jones Show. I'm your host, Alex Jones. This is a syndicated radio broadcast in the main, but we also have a full TV production here at Infowars.com/show, and already have cable systems and TV stations picking the broadcast up live via internet streams, some of them then downloading it and playing it later, even before we officially launch on satellite and other systems in the near future. But our main audience is 170-plus AM and FM affiliates, and, of course, the giant amount of folks watching the video and listening to the audio streams. And the way we reach more people is you out there spreading the word, so thank you so much. We'll go to Regina, Steve, Alex, Abdi, Dan, and others that are patiently holding after Lord Monckton leaves us here in about 25 minutes or so. Lord Christopher Monckton, of course, was the top advisor to Margaret Thatcher. He's a scientist, researcher, journalist, ran major newspapers in the UK. He now runs scienceandpublicpolicy.org. He helped prove that Al Gore's film, An Inconvenient Truth, was an inconvenient fraud. Had it basically removed from UK schools because they had to put a disclaimer in that polar bears could swim and penguins could swim and the ice sheets were, not disappearing. They've actually gotten bigger. And a lot of other big victories. And this is the big globalist push to control and track and tax everything on Earth while ignoring real environmental crises. So I wanted to get him on because his big peer-reviewed paper has come out and is being attacked and demonized right now. I don't want to spend too much time on that because these people are so discredited, whatever. But it's important. I also want to get his take on geopolitical movements. So if he'll do this, I'll throw a curveball at him, a wild card. In the short segment, the next long segment, he can have the floor in the main. What do you make of Bibi's speech to Congress? What do you make of this Western alliance with al-Qaeda calling itself ISIS to bring down Assad, now blowing back so we ally with Iran, and Israel saying they may, basically go in and blow up those reactors, and then Russia, and I mean, everything seems to be going into high gear. Obama is saying he may raise taxes executively. That is dictatorship. He's banning bullets with executive action that is totally illegal. He's federalizing police. Everything's moving in high gear. Is there a reason geopolitically this is happening? Because it seems in other Western nations things are moving quickly. What's going on, Lord Monckton, in your view?
Okay. Two questions. First of all, let's deal with Obama and what he's up to there in the United States, in Washington. Now, what he's doing is he's realized he's lost control of Congress. He knows he's no longer in charge of that. So what he's doing is he's saying, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make law up as I go along and use the procedure known as the executive order, where I just write a piece of paper saying this is what I want, and that then becomes the law. Now, Congress ought to wake up and realize that, in fact, he doesn't have the power to do this, because Article 1, Section 1 of your Constitution, quite clear, it says that no law can be passed by anyone unless it's passed by Congress. Nobody else has any legislative power on their own at all. So he can't usurp the function of Congress unless Congress lets him away with it. And the Republicans need to sharpen their game and start saying, no, we're not going to let the EPA make up rules. We're not going to allow Obama to make up rules randomly. It has to come before Congress or it isn't a law. So that's that one. He's acting as every dictator always does, making up the law when he can't get it through his parliament. Now, as far as Bibi Netanyahu is concerned, whom I know, because I met him in Israel many years ago when I went there as a guest of the government, what he is really saying in that speech is a cry for help. He's saying, look, this is going to hell in a handcart because effectively the West has found itself taking sides over and over again with one Muslim faction against another. And then in no time at all, it finds itself fighting on the opposite side. And all the time, it is feeding Western weapons into groups which eventually become terrorist groups fighting against the West. And it's time that this nonsense stopped. Now, of course, he's also very worried indeed about the various nuclear researches going on in Iran, which are clearly not intended so much for civilian use as for weaponizing the plutonium to make bombs with. And he is not going to allow that to happen, and he's made that very plain. After all, it was Israel who previously knocked out the Osirak reactor in Iraq when it too was working towards weaponizing nuclear material. So he is saying, if you won't do your job, because Obama effectively has abdicated in that region, he is too close to the Muslim side of things to be trustworthy as far as Bibi Netanyahu is concerned. So Netanyahu is saying, I'm going to have to act unilaterally unless you decide that you're going to sharpen up your act and find a more solid, coherent policy for dealing with the Middle East.
All right, Lord Monckton, stay there and come back and finish that. Then we'll get into your paper making international headlines, the latest power grabs.
We're on the march.
If you go to my Twitter account, I tweeted it a few weeks ago, the latest issue of National Geographic is titled The War on Science. And on the cover, they say, we never went to the moon. And then next they say, in the War on Science, that climate change isn't real. What a nice bait and switch. We always said, Monckton for 20 plus years, that it is climate change, that it's normal, that change is the only constant because of the sun and other factors. The solar winds, the list goes on, and that's what the science shows. But they get up there and lie and say the science is in. Everyone agrees global warming, anthropogenic, man-made. Now, the last 3-4 years, they've segued into change. Change, period. Now we're having record cold in Europe and the United States. It's freezing right now in Austin. Usually by this time of year, it's springtime here. In fact, last week, trees were budding with flowers. Now they're all basically dead because it's freezing here. It's the sun. The sun started to cool off a few years ago. Lord Monckton, but I had astrophysicists on, you name it. Oh, just Lord Monckton. They said, get ready for it to get cold. Get ready for the ice caps on Mars to get big again. When I had David the Rothschild on years ago, I said, why are the ice caps then, that was when the Earth was still heating a little bit, it was about 8-9 years ago, I go, why are the ice caps getting smaller on Mars too? And he said, well, that's because Mars is closer to the sun than Earth. And I said, no, it's the fourth planet. We're the third. He said, no, it's not, sorry. And I said, are you doing that to insult my audience, or you think we're that dumb? He just started laughing at me. We've played the clip of that many times. It's in my film Endgame. Lord Monckton, they seem to be tripling down now as everything collapses on them and then trying to discredit you and others. Finish up with any geopolitical news, and then let's get into that subject, please.
All right, very briefly then, on Bibi Netanyahu's speech. This is a very important speech. It was extremely well received in Congress. Many standing ovations, a lot of excitement about it. And I think this is a very important and very significant moment because Congress has decided to act unilaterally here in a way it hadn't found the courage to do so far. It invited Bibi Netanyahu when Obama didn't. Obama didn't ask him to come, but Congress asked him to come because they are concerned that he simply doesn't have a handle on the Middle East situation, which of course stems originally from the situation of Palestine. It's really Britain's fault originally because it was we who decided, when we had the mandate to control that territory, eventually to give it to Israel when there were still 1 million Palestinians living in it. And that has led to conflict ever since. Now, it's very clear what's got to happen. There needs to be a generous financial settlement to those who can demonstrate that they are legitimate descendants of the original Palestinians who were dispossessed by the creation of the State of Israel. That would leave Israel in place, but the Palestinians properly compensated, but they would have to accept as the price of that compensation that they acknowledge Israel's continuing right to exist and will no longer seek to do it down. Now, that's the kind of policy that I think we're going to need to see. And it's actually Western countries that are going to have to pay for that, because it isn't Israel's fault that Israel is there. It's our fault that Israel is there. And so we should compensate the Palestinians for what they have had to endure, the taking away of their territory to create Israel. This is a problem for Palestine. We have to understand that. But at the same time, Israel, after what was done to it before the Second World War by Hitler, Israel also has its right to exist as a nation. And that way you can get both nations coexisting, I hope, in harmony. Something like that has got to be tried, because otherwise the conflict between the West and the Islamic world, which has largely stemmed out of the Palestinian conflict, is not going to go away, and it is, I'm afraid, going to get worse. And I'm very sorry about that, because my late father spoke Arabic, looked quite Arabic in some ways, knew many of the leading figures in the Arab world, and was very fond of it. And so am I. And it's a great sadness to see this really unnecessary disturbance of the former harmony there, and the savage treatment, in particular, of the Christians in Syria at the moment and other places in the region, where hundreds of thousands have been dispossessed or killed, and virtually nothing said in the fashionable left-wing press. Well, that's why Bibi Netanyahu is being received so well in Congress, because he is speaking to these issues which the present administration in the United States has nothing to say about.
In closing on the subject, why won't the feminists that say a man wearing pants hurts women, or that all sex between a man and a woman is rape, literally, why aren't they upset when radical Islamists sexually mutilate women or cut their heads off or kill Christians or put little girls into sex slavery? Why would the left, is radical Islam so sexy and chic? If you go to a leftist meeting, there are folks there just fawning after it. It's so sexy to be in a jihad slave pit.
This has always been the way that the media and the left are by instinct not democratic but totalitarian. And totalitarians will always tend to stand together and think as one. And of course, there's the additional factor that Obama has been letting very large numbers of Muslims into the United States. And this is because the first few generations of immigrants from wherever they come tend to vote left. And so the left always have policies which seem terribly tough against immigration, but in fact you always get very, very large numbers of people coming in, and in particular at the moment from the Muslim world into the United States, changing forever, as they hope, the terms of trade in voting to make sure that we never really ever get a Republican government again. That's the aim of it. It's the constant movement leftward. And that's why the left makes common cause with the terrorists and the extremists of Islam, rather than doing what the centre-right does, which is saying actually that sort of conduct is unacceptable.
All right, Lord Monckton, good analysis on that front. Let's segue into the latest on the carbon taxing, how they're responding to record cold temperatures, record thick ice sheets, record numbers of polar bears and pinguinos. What's happening on that front?
Well, let's first of all, you're quite right about this. There are 7 times as many polar bears as there were in the 1940s. Hardly, as you may think, the profile of a species at imminent threat of extinction. And yet the Worldwide Fund for Nature, so-called, which is another communist front group, has put out an advertisement in the United Kingdom, which doesn't appear on their website because they don't want people actually getting the text of it and then making complaints about it, which says that polar bear numbers are in decline. Well, they're not. They're growing very rapidly, because the Arctic, it has been a little bit less warm than it had. There's been a little bit of a loss of ice there, but it's been more than matched by a gain of ice in the Antarctic. And overall, just a few months ago, for the time of year, there was more sea ice globally than had ever been measured in 35 years of the satellite coverage. You will not see that in any mainstream news media. You'll only see it on Alex Jones. But the fight back is now even beginning among the scientific community. The paper that I and 3 distinguished colleagues, Professor David Leagate, Dr. Willie Soon, and Dr. Matt Briggs, published in January in the Chinese Science Bulletin, is the most popular paper, in terms of the number of downloads that distinguished journal, it's the Oriental equivalent of Science or Nature, has had for any scientific paper published in the last 60 years of its archive. In fact, it's had more downloads than the others by just about 10 times over. This has proved to be a very popular paper because it's actually quite a simple paper. What it does is to set out an irreducibly simple climate model, which is a way of looking at the climate. And what you can see in the paper is that when we ran that model for the first time, the answer it gave was exactly the rate of warming that we've in fact seen over the last 30 years, whereas the official models are predicting twice as much warming as has actually occurred. Now, this paper is a phenomenon. It's of great concern to those who are trying to say at the UN's climate conference in December in Paris, where they hope to inflict a world government treaty on us, the one they failed to do at Copenhagen. They're going to try again. The Chinese blocked the Copenhagen one. The Chinese have been squared by, as of course, Obama this time. He went over there and said, look, please don't wreck the treaty this time. We'll let you out of it. You can go on emitting as much CO2 as you like.
That's right. They never comply with any of it. They can build all the new plants they want. Pachari can in India, even though he just lost his position. We can talk about that. It's only on the West that these cuts are made.
That is absolutely right. And what is interesting is that China has been given a specific exemption, so it doesn't have to cut its emissions at all. Now, the point about that is that China is now far and away the largest emitter of CO2 on the planet. So if CO2 were a problem and you were wanting to control it, the one country you wouldn't let out of this agreement is China. And the other one that you've just mentioned that you wouldn't let out is the second largest emitter, or soon will be, and that's India. And so what they've really said is that in order to get some sort of a treaty through, they're going to have to exempt the people who are now the major contributors to the CO2 in the atmosphere. That's how dotty it has all become. But the reason why they're pushing for this, desperately pushing for this treaty, is they now know the science has collapsed. Our paper, among others, tells them it's collapsed. But they can't admit it, and their only way of not being shown up as having got it as badly wrong as they did is actually to bring CO2 concentration down to zero, so that when, as they now know it would anyway, the temperature fails to rise, they can say they did that with their heroic cuts in CO2 rather than it wasn't going to happen anyway. But of course, this paper has provoked outrage and screaming fury on the left. At first, they tried to poo-poo it, saying that the journal it was in was insignificant. Then they discovered it is the Journal of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, the largest such thing in the world. Then they tried various very dopey attacks on the science, which fell completely flat because most of them had plainly not even read the paper. So then, when all that had failed, they decided to attack Dr. Willie Soon, who is my very distinguished co-author of this paper, who's been an astrophysicist at the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics for the last 25 years. And they had the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Boston Globe, all the left-wing mainstream media wrote lying pieces saying that he had a conflict of interest in that he should have declared he was funded by fossil fuel interests when writing our paper. Well, he has, as many scientists have had, funding both from governments and from fossil fuel interests in the past. However, at present, at the time he worked on our paper, he wasn't being funded by anyone.
But let me just interrupt you for a moment, please, because I follow this, and we always defend ourselves. I've never gotten any fossil fuel company money, but I also follow the news for 23 years, 20 years on air. Most of the big oil companies, like Dutch Royal Shell and BP, are some of the biggest funders of climate change baloney. ExxonMobil, 8 years ago, Rex Tillerson was put on notice, it was in the news, that he would get behind it by David Rockefeller or be removed at the board meeting, because David came and exercised the fact that he was the majority owner of it, since it was busted up with the Sherman Antitrust Act in 1906. And so that raised its ugly head, the robber baron money, and the fact that, in fact, there's the headline, fossil fuel industry caught taking a page out of the tobacco playbook. So they're spinning it that it's the fossil fuel companies doing this, when you could go into any university and find a department where something's going to be funded by one of these industries and then supposedly discredits it. The truth is, you look at the Hide the Decline people, and you look at ClimateGate, and you look at Pachari and all these players and Al Gore owning one of the climate exchanges, and Obama invested in the Chicago exchange. I mean, it's a total joke. They are the most conflicted group of anybody, and I'm just sick of the red herring. That's all they've got is all scientists agree with us. And when you show that most don't, they go, well, you're all paid off by oil companies. It's just insane.
I mean, it is completely outrageous. Something like, I think it's 5,000 times as much funding goes to true believers in Thermageddon, this new religion, than to those of us who are skeptical. I mean, nothing comes to me at all. I very occasionally get a speaker fee here and there, but nobody pays me to do my research into the climate. I'm always being asked that. The left are always trying to catch me out saying, who's paying you?
Well, why are they allowed to be paid, but then you aren't?
I think it's because governments have decided for various reasons of extending their own power and reach and getting more taxation and regulatory power, that they want to back this story whether it's true or not. I've had this from several members of the Conservative Party in Britain, which is the ruling party here. They know perfectly well it's rubbish, but they also find it very convenient as a way of keeping the taxpayer in his place. So there's a large element of sort of totalitarian suppression of freedom and transfer of wealth from the little guy to the big guy.
It's a giant power grab, but I mean, isn't this good that they're forced to look at your paper? Doesn't this show you're having a big effect, that they're trying to discredit it?
I think the fact is they are furious, because what I've done is I've said, look, you can have a simple climate model, so simple you can run it on a pocket calculator, and that model shows we're not going to get all that much warming. Now, what worries them about that is that if I'm proven to be right, then a lot of very searching questions are going to be asked in 30 or 40 years' time about why so many trillions were spent on the basis of these huge climate models that simply got it wrong. And if you want to see this paper for yourself, because it's a Lulu, there's a lot of very good material in it. As you can see, it's flashing on the screen now. You can go to scibull.com, scibull.com, rather an unfortunate moniker for their website, and then just click on most read articles, and we are #1 on the list. And please do that, because the more people download this paper, the more the left will take note that no longer are we sitting back and just letting them control the journals. We are getting in too. Of course, the left have been furious at the Science Bulletin for running this. There's been a lot of complaints about Willie Soon having not declared his conflict of interest, but I wrote to the editors and said, look, this has arisen, and here is the answer. None of us was paid a single cent to do months of work. You know, a scientific paper is not an easy thing to do. It takes a lot of work to put it together. We were not paid a single cent by anyone to do that. So the editor very kindly accepted that and has been sending my letter out to all the complainers saying, well, look, actually, there isn't any money that changed hands here, and it's a perfectly good, straightforward paper, so why don't you read it?
Well, that's just like when Brian Williams gets discredited, they change the subject to Bill O'Reilly, and I'm not defending Bill O'Reilly. He's even promoted this nonsense. The point is they want to change the subject by demonizing somebody to get the attention off of them, when the fact that the ice sheets are getting bigger and that it's so cold, people know this is bull. Then they learn that
there's been no global warming for 18 years, according to the RSS satellite data set. No warming for about a decade on any data set. And that's certainly not what they predicted. We've had sea level hardly changing at all, according to the Envisat satellite in the 8 years it operated. The GRACE satellites, which are the gravitational recovery satellites, probably now the most accurate way of measuring sea level, actually showed it falling between 2003 and 2009.
Sure. It's a giant power grab, and you're the champion of exposing it, and we'll continue to get updates from you. Scienceandpublicpolicy.org. You can go there and link through and find the paper. Get it out to everybody you know and get in their face. It's all a big power grab by George Soros and others to literally tax everything humans do. Lord Moncton, Godspeed.
Many thanks.
God bless. Brought to you by InfidelBodyArmor.com. When it hits the fan, don't be left without the body armor that will save your life. With prices starting at just $374.99 and ships free. Get yours at InfidelBodyArmor.com. Just won't quit.
Hi, Ted Anderson with Midas Resources. Is it time to convert paper 401ks and IRAs to solid gold and silver yet? Get our 10 Reasons book free. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
It's time to kick some ash because cigarettes have met their match. Smokers are switching to Vaporite e-liquid by LeSig because when you kick ash, you kick tar and smelly smoke too. LeSig smokes the competition with real people customer service, a 7-day satisfaction guarantee, and same-day fast free shipping. Become a vapor today at LeSig.com, spelled LECIG.com. LeSig e-cigarettes. Kick some ash.
For all of recorded history, civilizations around the world praised the health benefits of silver. At InfoWars Life, our mission is to bring you the highest quality, purest, cleanest, effective colloidal silver on the market today for the lowest price available. You don't have to be a doctor to know. The fall and winter months are the most dangerous time of year in North America when it comes to you and your family's health. InfoWarsLife.com is very excited to announce our biggest run yet of Silver Bullet colloidal silver, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Now, InfoWarsLife.com has taken colloidal silver to the next level using a cutting-edge technique that is free of toxic artificial additives. Now more than ever, it's important to stock up on high-quality Silver Bullet from InfoWarsLife.com. No survival chest is complete without Silver Bullet. Secure your Silver Bullet today at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. Silver Bullet.
Last year, in the Nevada desert, one family took a stand for freedom. Numana Food Storage was the first and only company to support the rights of the Bundys. While others stood down, Numana took donations and provided storable foods to the men at Bunkerville. Founded by patriots who believe in liberty, Numana Food Storage is GMO-free, great tasting, and easy to prepare. Food is freedom. Buy Numana today at PowerPrepper.com. Numana Food Storage you'll love to eat at PowerPrepper.com.
It's no secret that government and big business buy in bulk and get huge discounts not available to the little guy. Until now. Introducing a breakthrough crowd buying website where people can join together, buy in bulk, and get massive discounts on millions of popular products. It's TogetherSave.com. TogetherSave.com. You can save 20, 30, or even 50% off tablets, smartphones, cars, appliances, textbooks, sports equipment, video games, and much more. All with free delivery. Check it out. TogetherSave.com. Visit now and start group buying today at TogetherSave.com.
Appreciate Regina, Steve, Alex, Abdi, Sean, and others holding. We'll go to your calls in this segment and the next. Then Joel Gilbert is joining us. A lot of these calls are about Iran, Israel. I mean, if Israel hits Iran, it is going to be a big deal. And that's... I'm just having trouble here because I'm not going to side with Obama. Everything Obama does is bad. And then to see Obama on the surface snubbing Israel... There's just major stuff afoot. Major stuff's going on. You can see that on every front. The power grabs, it's all over the top. I haven't plugged any products today, and we're an hour and 54 minutes in the broadcast. If you want to support this transmission, help get the word out, please tell your friends and family about the show. There are a lot of moves out there with Google and others to start censoring. You just saw the FCC power grab. I mean, things are in high gear. So please pray for the broadcast. Please pray for our providence and provision. Please continue to spread the word, and please purchase the products. Super Male Vitality sold out over the weekend, as I told you it would. It'll be a couple weeks, bare minimum, until we get more in. It's being manufactured right now here in the USA of the highest quality products. Super Female is simply a different formulation, has all the same stuff in it, but one thing's removed and two other things are added. I personally get a better energized kick out of Super Female, and we're kind of having a quandary right now. We may add the ingredients of both together in a pill, but then it wouldn't be cold pressed, but it'd be a lot less expensive. That's in the works, probably takes 6 months to develop. But the tincture is amazing. It's 30% off until it sells out. And it'll sell out in a matter of days. Most people would up prices when something was selling out. We're not doing that. We are lowering the price to introduce you to it so that you'll become a regular customer and we can fund our operation. Super high quality. Another special that's going to end in about 6 days or while supplies last. 6 is the maximum amount, so it's a week-long sale. We're into day 2, or until supplies last. It may be 2 or 3 days. The immune booster, ancient defense, herbal tincture is a whole bunch of concentrated herbs and fruit extracts and other extracts that are known to boost the immune system and just overall health. I love it. You get a free bottle of ancient defense Ancient Defense up at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com. I got a bottle of Ancient Defense here. Here it is, Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Complex, 2-ounce bottle, excellent for your children, excellent for yourself. When you get 2 bottles of X2 Nation Iodine, you get a bottle of that absolutely free. That sale will go for 6 days or while supplies last. There's a bunch of other specials running right now at InfoWarsLife.com. InfoWarsStore.com has the books, the videos, the Patriot apparel to support the broadcast and meet like-minded people. I start trying to hurry during a plug to go to your calls and start tripping over myself. InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com, or 888-253-3139. Let's jam in one caller before we go to break and come back with more. Regina in Virginia, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, Alex. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing all right. Thank you for calling.
Thank you for taking my call. I just wanted to point out that barring the political inclinations of the speech today, I think he gave Congress some insight into what he's actually dealing with in the region. We're not there, but he is. And defending his people is probably a very high priority, barring any evilness in the government and the governments across the world. I mean, that's just my opinion. And looking at the 6 Days War after they established their state, I mean, to my eyes, that was just a godsend. I mean, God-induced.
You're talking about Providence.
Yes, most definitely. I mean, they were surrounded then, and look what they accomplished by themselves. So that's what I think.
Well, that's right. And you know, that's why people say, you know, go in and take over Israel, hand over to people. It's not going to happen. They have nuclear weapons, and they've got Providence. We'll be right back. Stay with us in the third hour, ladies and gentlemen. Infowars.com. Thank you, Regina, for the call. More calls. Alex and others are straight ahead. Sold out for weeks due to the difficult and extensive proprietary process behind its creation, the exclusive InfoWars Life Secret 12 formulation is now back in stock. This ultra-clean vitamin B12 nutraceutical has been carefully crafted and developed over the last 2 years and is based on cellular science of how your body actively absorbs essential nutrients. Most forms of vitamin B12 are highly processed and synthetic and could not be properly absorbed by the body. Secret 12 is a binary of nutramedical grade, bioavailable coenzyme forms of B12, methylcobalamin, the same kind used in B12 injections, and adenosylcobalamin, the most bioactive form that has been created with our proprietary process. Secret 12 is taken by mouth, right on the tongue, and then swallowed. No needles, no injections. Don't take my word for it. Try it for yourself. Discover the secret. Secret 12. Supplies of Secret 12 are very limited. Secure yours today at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.
You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Joe Gilbert joins us to talk about a bunch of developments in his research into exactly who Barack Obama is. And we'll cover the waterfront with him as well and take your calls. Right now, let's go to Alex in New York on BB's speech. We're going to open the phones up after these callers for any subject. Alex, go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Go ahead.
Yes, hello.
Yep.
Yeah, good afternoon. You hear me?
Yep, sure do.
Hello?
Now, I'm going to keep doing this because these calls are wild. Alex, you can hear me. I'm going to say a color, blue. Did you hear that?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, I'm going to say another word, red. Do you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, you are live. I can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. Small thing I want to tell you, Alex. I'm former KGB server many years ago, but from 1949, KGB have plans to destroy Israel. And then they sent lots of weapons, lots of help, instructors to Muslim world, including Iran, Iraq, all other countries. So in the plans from 49, they still planned to destroy Israel because they needed to. So Netanyahu will talk to Congress. Congress will listen and do what they want to do. But Netanyahu will try to fight against it. Only option they have, like you said before, nuclear weapon, which the Muslim world don't have it yet around. But they have in Iran a reactor which can be used exactly to produce it, which exactly exists in this moment. But it's not.
Sure, and I wasn't trying to be smart-mouth earlier. Sometimes callers can't hear me, so I'll ask them a question to see if they can hear me. Sorry, there was interference on the line. Very interesting. So you were in the KGB. What was your rank in the KGB?
Lieutenant.
And then did you defect to the U.S.?
Yes, I'm in the U.S. More than 20 years.
Wow. I mean, I know that Russia did fund anti-Israel operations. What is your view of the geopolitical movements today?
They need to defeat Israel, or it's going to fall, and it's going to be big war. Because plans of Russia and plans of U.S. now it's not connected. Before United States would support Israel, Russia was against it. Now America not supported Israel. It means it's going to fall and it's going to be fight, and the fight will be big.
I agree with that statement. Even if you hate Israel, which I don't, you can't just cut them loose. They got 800 nuclear weapons. World War III will start. I mean, you can't get rid of Israel. And I guess biblically, it's what causes the end of the world, I guess.
Technically, realistically, yes, it is. If Muhammad church in Palestine will be fall, and they're going to build Israel church, and it's exactly will beginning by Bible World War III. And it's exactly what they try to do. They try to use nuclear weapon for it.
Let me ask you a question. If you were in the security services or the KGB, which I don't doubt you were, a lot of tens of thousands of those folks were brought over here, and we've had former famous KGB people on the show. What is your view of the transformation of America into this police state? Do you have a comment on that?
Yes, sir. I left Russia, Soviet Union, let's say, with only one reason. Leash was on my own neck. My brother's neck was too short, and we feel it. Gun barrel in the back every day, and it's coming here in America. That's exactly was my reason to leave Russia. I don't want it, but I left. Question is, same situation happened right now here. We lost all rights in Russia. You cannot have no guns, nothing, just a broomstick to protect yourself. Here, I have a gun. There, since I was serving, I haven't. Then I was left. I have nothing except, like I said, broomstick to protect myself and my family. And now it's happening here. And if it's not going to stop, big problem. Control.
Absolutely.
Big control.
Send us an email with proof of who you are. I'd like to have you on as a guest, Alex. God bless you. We'll be right back. In most governments, a push to make us stupid, dumb us down, and suppress our soul, suppress our spirits. Because free spirits, spirits that love God and justice, will not resonate with this anti-human world government. 20 years ago, I talked about the transhumanists coming out of the eugenicist movement and their plan to establish a planetary world government, merge with machines, and basically end humanity as we know it. No one was talking about it back then but the establishment in somewhat restricted publications. Now, it is all over the news pretty much every single day to a mind-blowing level. You go to the front page of Infowars.com, we have a graphic with a famous quote by Ray Kurzweil in one of his books. He's one of the top Google executives. By the year 2030, the non-biological portion of our intelligence will predominate. Now, whether that's true or not, the move is being made. It's been decided. He goes on to say, if you don't want to merge with the machines, that's fine, but you'll be like a bug compared to intelligence. Well, the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry, as I like to quote, of Mice and Men. Well, Mice and Men quotes the poem. But much of what the globalists are planning and trying to do, they're not successful in. They just re-gauge things, change their program a bit, and then keep trying. So overall, they're very successful because they don't ever give up. Almost every time we even rally a fraction of people worldwide to fight tyranny, we win. The problem is so many people are awake, they think they don't have any power. So it's so stupid for Arabs and Jews to be fighting and Christians and Muslims, black, white, all this. When the globalists are scientific dictators, they call themselves technocrats. In Europe, they're appointing the leaders of major countries, all Goldman Sachs executives. Obama is acting as a dictator. That's not a word, that's a reality. He says he's going to raise taxes with executive orders. That's in town hall today. They're announcing, look at this headline by Kit Daniels. Great article, not hardcore enough. Obama to expand federal control over state local police. Obama announces new power grab. Moves to federalize police I mean, because sometimes stuff's so sensational, you just can't have a professional headline because it doesn't grasp how serious it is. Obama to expand federal control over state and local police. Obama accelerates power grab. Moves to federalize police. Red alert. But leave the headline like it is. I mean, it's just the power plants, the guns, the bullets, the borders, the military, the funding ISIS. He's just doing it all without Congress, without the states, without anything. And I got to tell you, I heard people when Obama was first running for office saying, oh, he's going to be horrible, he's going to take over. And I'm like, it's not that bad. Well, the Republican leadership's going along with all this, so it is that bad. And I don't know how it's going to end the next 2 years. There's a little under 2 years left to this. The Republicans are signing off on his FCC power grab. They're like, oh, we won't challenge it. Go ahead, let the FCC just grab it. Oh, we're not going to challenge you on the borders. We're not going to challenge you on the military, on the power plants, on the executive orders, on the taxes, on Obamacare. Because the very same special interest are in control of this president and the Republican leadership. And I don't know where the world goes from here because it's getting so transparent. Joel Gilbert is a best-selling documentary filmmaker. His latest film, Utopia, exposing the fact that it's not a utopia that they're building, is available at InfoWarsStore.com. I should add that, and basically gets into the whole socialist journey that people have gone through in this country. Utopia. There's no place like Utopia is the full name of the film. But he's not here so much to talk about that today. You need to get the film and give it to young people and others, folks. That's how we win hearts and minds. You can unlock somebody's mind with one piece of truth. It can dislodge an entire mountain of disinformation and fraudulent propaganda. I wanted to get Gilbert on because it was a week or so ago. Remember, Congress pointed out that his connection to who we believe is Obama's real father, Frank Marshall Davis, and more of what's in Gilbert's film we're seeing in mainstream here and there, almost like the power structures dangling it out there in these kind of wars. We know there's even wars within the establishment. You're hearing criminal stuff about Hillary and her illegal emails and Jeb Bush and illegal Nigeria stuff, lying to the FBI, not declaring income. So there's infighting within the system as well. But I'm seeing a lot of that starting to come out right now. Then you've got all these announcements, and you've got world government being pushed, and transhumanism, and smartphones spying on you, and all the rest of it. And meanwhile, you got George Soros running around spending $33 million to cause basically anti-police riots around the country to destabilize the nation so Obama can pose as a savior and come in and federalize police, which they're now announcing. We predicted this. So what's the next shoe to drop? They're power grabbing everything. The internet, the borders, the police. Joel Gilbert, what do you think's going on? You're a big Obama expert. You've traveled the world to track this guy. What do you think's going on, Joel Gilbert?
Well, I think there's an actual roadmap that Obama is following from his mentor, Bill Ayers, and of course Bernardine Dohrn in the Weather Underground from the late 60s. They wrote a document called Prairie Fire. And the essence of that was using a line from Mao Zedong, which was a single spark can start a prairie fire, meaning one incident, one agitation can start an entire revolution. And you see Obama agitating prairie fires such as he did in Ferguson, the Trayvon Martin case. He tried on the guns up in Newton, Massachusetts. He's always agitating. He's a professional agitator. He was trained as an agitator in Chicago at the Midwest Academy. He was a trainer for Acorn. And I think he had no interest ever in becoming president of the United States or in being president. His only interest was using the pulpit of the presidency to agitate the country and divide and polarize the nation. It is only about 50 years ago now that, 45 years ago, that Bernardine Dohrn and the Weather Underground declared war on the United States. And I think when you look at Obama's policies the last few years, his agenda for the next 2 years, I think it is open warfare against the United States to degrade and harm and eliminate the foundations of the Constitution.
You're right, and it's like it's some type of weird Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure where they're caught in a time loop because they're using an old Soviet playbook to bring down the U.S. and Israel and Western Europe long after all that collapsed. These are crazy people. I mean, they're in control right now, and they're trying to shut off the industrial base and start a civil war. These people are mentally ill.
Well, the way they accomplished it is based on a learning curve. Bill Ayers and Obama's mentors in the Weather Underground would look people in the eye in the late 60s, and they would say, we want to destroy you. We want to bring down America, replace the Constitution with a communist manifesto. We want to send 50 million of you to re-education centers and murder 25 million of you.
And have the UN basically occupy the U.S. with international forces.
Correct. They wanted to occupy the United States with Soviet, Chinese, North Korean, and North Vietnamese forces. Nobody followed them because it turned people off because it was so evil. They ended up going to jail for murdering policemen. They went into the underground for 10, 15 years. When they emerged from the underground in the early 80s in Chicago and became Barack Obama's mentors, they taught him the lesson. The lesson was, instead of looking people in the eye and saying, we want to murder you, look at them in the eye and say, we want fairness. We want to help you.
And by the way, I had Bill Ayers on about a month ago, and he literally said he wasn't a communist, said I was making it up, said none of this ever happened. And so they're now in that mode of acting passive, acting friendly, acting non-threatening. Right. And I could tell he was reading off a script.
Right. What they do is they change the terminology. Instead of we want to murder you, the terminology is folks and families. But the agenda is exactly the same. It's to use the support of people for helping them to, in fact, destroy them. And we've seen over the last 30 years, the Democrat Party has been taken over by these radical Marxists out of Chicago, and today the Democrat Party is a radical socialist party. And in my film, Dreams from My Real Father, which you mentioned was back in the news with Rudy Giuliani, mentioning that Obama's mentor was the Communist Party USA propagandist Frank Marshall Davis. Of course, in my film, which is in your store still, Dreams from My Real Father, I think I present a mountain of evidence that Obama's real biological father, who became his ideological mentor, was in fact the Soviet agent Frank Marshall Davis, who indoctrinated him into this radical ideology in his entire youth. And today we're seeing unfortunately, the end game of a radical in office.
You know, when I heard all this 6, 7 years ago, I didn't believe it, but there's no way it's not true, and the evidence is overwhelming. We are in so much trouble. And what are the elite thinking doing something this crazy and reckless? Well, why did Nero marry his horse? Why did, or was it Caligula married his horse? I guess Nero did stuff even worse. And these people are just insane, out of their minds, but they have a will to power, so they're taking over. Joel Gilbert's our guest. Stay with us.
I'm really glad my buddy Mark turned me on to guns80.com. I got to tell you, I didn't want to buy any more firearms. I didn't want a paperwork trail headed back to Big Brother. I want 100% privacy. I want to be an invisible gun owner. Hello? So Mark says, hey, you know, guns80.com, Ghost AR-15. Ghost means invisible. Get it? Ghost AR-15. Guns80.com. I got a couple, if you know what I mean. Go to guns80.com or call 844-2GUNS80.
I am a 47-year-old female and had a heart attack in 2005. This is Alice from New Jersey. I still get angina, even with 4 stents. I was taking nitro 2 or 3 times a week. The very first day after taking Heart and Body Extract, the chest pain was gone. Now I don't wear a nitro patch.
Learn the secrets of an effective, natural, 100% organic nutritional supplement for a healthy heart and circulation at hbextract.com.
Used since before the days of the Roman Empire to support the body's natural systems and enhance overall health. Introducing the new InfoWarsLife.com oil of oregano formulation, a highly advanced nutraceutical form of this key herb that has been traditionally used by civilizations for thousands of years to promote health. We have now procured the most high quality and potent forms of oregano oil on the market, sourced from top leading manufacturers to ensure a concentrated level of bioactive ingredients. Extracted directly from the wild herb and sealed in easy-to-use capsules, you will no longer need to endure the burning of liquid oregano on the tongue. Wild crafted from the Mediterranean oregano species that experts agree is one of the most powerful and most challenging to acquire. This winter season, it's more important than ever to secure this true form of oil of oregano. Now available in our limited first run at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.
As the New World Order continues to tighten its grip on every facet of our lives, we're all asking ourselves, how can we maintain our independence? The answer is clear. Get prepared, and you get prepared now. Now the only question left is, where do we begin? My Patriot Supply is here to help. Call 800-247-3070 to get started with your 72-hour emergency food supply for only $10. We're even covering the cost of shipping. Are you willing to rely on the government and FEMA in the event of an emergency? Call 800-274-3070 to get started with your 72-hour emergency food supply for only $10. You won't be able to find this deal online, and there is a strict limit of 4 per caller, so don't wait. Call now, 800-274-3070. That's 800-274-3070. Call right now.
Usually, the older one gets, the less you are able to absorb amino acids and the less you are able to repair the 100 trillion cells of your body. As a result, you'll have less energy, your tissues will shrink, and you'll become wrinkled. An older person will typically injure more easily and heal more slowly. Not fun. However, if you can consume a protein powder that is easier to absorb, then you may be able to gain back some strength, muscle, and speed of recovery. One World Whey is a highly digestible whey protein powder that may be the perfect answer for you.
My name is Errol. I'm 74 years old. You know, the taste of One World Whey is amazing. I play pickleball, and since taking One World Whey and your trace mineral supplement, I have more energy and recover faster from my working out. I used to take another grass-fed whey protein powder, but now I'm getting much better results using One World Whey.
Call 888-988-3325. That's 888-988-3325. Or visit oneworldwhey.com.
Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, we're here live. It's really a different type of talk radio. We pioneered simulcasting television, not just a webcam. We neurotically show video clips, news articles, legislation, documents to back up our claims. We have a wide spectrum of guests on who don't even ideologically agree with each other 90% or 80%, but who genuinely want freedom and have shown they're experts in their field to have a real discussion, a real debate to try to understand what's happening. And if you look at how the Democratic Party especially attacks families, attacks anybody who's good, tries to deindustrialize the country, they really want us on our knees so they can then dictate the terms of our surrender. And they just hate this country because we were a Christian nation, we were a free market nation. If they bring us down, they have the whole world. The problem is most of their supporters are good people who are manipulated and don't know what they're part of. We're talking to Joel Gilbert, the maker of There's No Place Like Utopia, an excellent film available at InfoWarsStore.com. And I know you, the listeners, know most of this stuff, or more than I do in some cases. You need to show it to friends and family. You need to have your church show it. You need to really fight the collectivism that's unfolding. JoelGilbert.net's his website. It's excellent. Joel, continue in the short segment, long segment coming up, and then we'll go to some calls. Understanding the power grab we're seeing What do you think, from your expert research, the agenda is in the next 2 years?
We've seen this game plan play out. It's not a new agenda. It's the same old story where a radical leftist Marxist group takes over a legitimate political party like the Democrat Party, tricks the party itself into thinking that they're mainstream. Obama told the country he's going to cut the deficit in half. Obamacare is not a tax. He'll obey the Constitution. It was a mainstream candidate with an agenda that he never intended to implement. That's why in my film, There's No Place Like Utopia, I compare Obama to the Wizard of Oz, because he was a charlatan from the get-go, and his intentions were never good. When Dorothy gets to the Emerald City, the Wizard of Oz sends her to the witch's castle. She's taken prisoner in the dungeon. And that's what's happened in all the progressive cities throughout America that I travel to in the film: Detroit, Chicago, Denver, Newark. People are literally living in these witches' castles, the dungeons of progressivism, where they have 50% unemployment, drug cultures, no fathers, no business. They've brought this devastation upon America through these progressive policies, and they only succeeded because they manipulated and fooled not only their own party, but the American people into supporting them and giving them power. Once they're in power, they use the tools of state, like the IRS, the control of information. Unemployment is only 5%.
Well, that's what I've found whenever I've been around socialists and communists at events over the decades. I've been around a lot of them at all sorts of behind-the-scenes Democratic conventions. They're really like criminal bank robber types, like felon types I've been around before, that are really creepy and have bad will towards people. And behind the scenes, they'll go, listen, when we take over, we're going to kill everybody. We want blood. They really are demonic villains. But then in the service, it's like, I'm liberal. Oh. I mean, they are just so sick.
Right. They've the entire program of progressivism is based on disinformation. And that's what the Democrat Party and the White House engages in today. I said the unemployment is 5%. There's voter suppression, a completely made-up story. On and on. The entire agenda is based on a manipulation and providing false information. It's disinformatia, Soviet-era propaganda coming out of the White House. And you'll see the Democrat candidate, whoever it's going to be in 2016, is going to say that we have racial inequality and income inequality. And there's a few fortunate people who are controlling all the economy, and that's why everyone else has to rise up and support the Democrat Party. So it's a type of mafia. It always has been. And they simply use the benefits of the state to enrich themselves while creating one large lower class. Socialist economies don't have a middle class. They have an impoverished society with political elites who control the wealth.
They're very medieval.
I would say so. They're a, it's a group of people that want to control others, and to be willing to lie and lie about everything. It just shows you the evil nature of those who would lie to take power and then use the tools to suppress everybody else. It's a very evil plan, and we're seeing it.
Sure.
Not in 1940s, 1950s China with Mao sending 50 million people to being starved to death in collective farms, or the Soviet gulags. We're seeing the disinformation in modern America.
We're seeing it incrementally just deindustrialize the country. And again, then we have the Republican leadership, a bunch of blue blood fascists who side with the Democrats. I want to talk about that when you come back. Talk about the film, get into any other subjects you want to cover, and then take phone calls from a lot of different listeners. Joel Gilbert's our guest. I'm Alex Jones, Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.tv. Stay with us.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Using unparalleled research in the development of a synergistic formulation based around the key concepts of super oxygenation, the next level in cleansing is here. With key ingredients backed by real clinical studies, the new Oxy Powder, available through InfoWars Life, was invented during Dr. Group's research on the toxification of our bodies. Many herbal colon cleansers are harsh on the body and contain cheap and potentially dangerous ingredients, oftentimes full of synthetic fillers, GMOs, additives, or worse. Gently start cleaning your body with easy capsules that start working while you sleep. Oxy Powder does not require time off work, and there's no need for bad-tasting concoctions. Instead, Oxy Powder slowly releases monoatomic oxygen into the intestinal tract and body. Experience the astonishing cleansing power of superoxide and ozonide technology. Go to InfoWarsLife.com or InfoWarsStore.com to get started with Oxy Powder, or call 1-888-253-3139.
For all of recorded history, civilizations around the world praised the health benefits of silver. At InfoWars Life, our mission is to bring you the highest quality, purest, cleanest, effective colloidal silver on the market today for the lowest price available. You don't have to be a doctor to know. The fall and winter months are the most dangerous time of year in North America when it comes to you and your family's health. InfoWarsLife.com is very excited to announce our biggest run yet of Silver Bullet colloidal silver, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Now, InfoWarsLife.com has taken colloidal silver to the next level using a cutting-edge technique that is free of toxic artificial additives. Now more than ever, it's important to stock up on high-quality Silver Bullet from InfoWarsLife.com. No survival chest is complete without Silver Bullet. Secure your Silver Bullet today at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. Silver Bullet.
The government's Department of Homeland Security is buying up loads of ammo. At the same time, they're restricting civilians' rights to own and purchase firearms. Can you put two and two together? Infidel Body Armor can stop every round, including hollow points and .308 sniper rounds. Is reasonably priced and fully legal. But for how long? Go to InfidelBodyArmor.com, spelled INFIDEL bodyarmor.com. Infidel Body Armor. Just won't quit.
When cells become toxic, they die early and aging sets in. No one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. Just one of the key compounds, BioPQQ, is backed by major clinical studies. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? We now have the synergistic solution. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
Defending the Republic from enemies, foreign and domestic. It's Alex Jones.
Some of the headlines up on Infowars.com. Netanyahu tells Congress Iran on a march of conquest, subjugation, and terror. I thought it was Western-backed ISIS that was on the march. I'm just saying. Obama to expand federal control over state, local police. Yeah, that's putting it lightly. Very important article. Announces the federalization of police. Cost of AR-15 ammo doubles in response to ATF ban threat. I mean, they say they're going ahead with it outside of law. Texas town fires entire police department. Crime drops by 61% after they hired private armed security guards. Report, cops tased man repeatedly until his heart blew out. Yeah, tasers kill people, folks. It's less lethal, not non-lethal. Feds say next 9/11 will come out of Libya that our government turned over to Al-Qaeda. Bugs and mold. Michelle Obama's school lunches continues to discuss. I want to show some of these photos to TV viewers here in a moment. If you guys will put that on screen for me, I want to go through that for TV viewers coming up here in just a few minutes. Yeah, I don't know why. We have great internet all over the building, but this TV in the studio, yeah, but mine wasn't loading either. I want to check the internet on this this monitor in here because it's having major issues. Anyways, we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Briefly, you know we sold out of Super Male Vitality. There's nothing secret about it. It's cold pressed, concentrated herbs and fruit extracts that are known to supercharge your libido, your energy, your stamina. You've heard the rave reviews, and the best part is it's great for you. It's a very good price, and it supports the broadcast, so you can feel good when you purchase it knowing you're funding a good cause. You're funding the info war. We sold out of Super Male Vitality because we were giving 20% off. The Super Female Vitality is almost sold out. So I said, you know what, instead of 20% off, let's give 30% off. Let's be super free market and let's discount even more because it's selling out. It'll be gone 4 to 6 weeks, super female. Super male is being manufactured right now 2 to 3 weeks. So we will get the product back in. But if you want to try super female, which works just as good with men, it's just a different formulation, it seems to supercharge me even more because of the few other herbs it has in it that the super male doesn't have. So the formulations are a little bit different. It's apples and oranges. Which one you'll like the best? Try a bottle today. You can get 30% off while supplies last. InfoWarsLife.com. And then we have Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Complex. That's something like 18 different known extracts of herbs that boost the immune system, like echinacea, golden seal root. I mean, that's just 2 of it. Burdock seed, bamboo sap, elderberry, concentrated ginger. I mean, a whole bunch of stuff that's just known to supercharge. Bayberry bark. I'm not going to go through the rest of it because I can't pronounce half of them. But this is a really great formulation that the big factory we use to put it out, one of the biggest producers in the country of organic stuff, said, we love your formula. This is very similar to our bestseller. But we notice yours is about 60% the price. We also try to bring you the products lower than competitors. That's why it's $14.95 for something similar, $30 at Whole Foods at InfoWarsLife.com. This is the new right side line of more affordables that we're coming out with. And then you have the general InfoWarsHealth.com products, the InfoWarsLife.com products. You've got the Oxy powder that absolutely flushes out the upper and lower intestine, discounted. We've got the oil of oregano for the Mediterranean source. It's purely organic and of the highest quality at a very low price. Secret 12, methylcobalamin, organic, concentrated, pure vitamin B12 that gets higher absorption rates from what we've seen. The Survival Shield X2, all of it, InfoWarsLife.com. We are selling out, and it'll probably be 6 weeks till we get more of the Ancient Defense. You get a free bottle of it, that's why it's selling out, when you get 2 bottles of Survival Shield Nascent Iodine X2, the good halogen. So InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsStore.com, and your purchase makes the broadcast possible. We're not like NPR that gets $400 million of taxpayer money and then begs for money every day on top of it, and is run by the Rockefellers on record. We're not like MSNBC that gets billions in stimulus money to give Rachel Maddow a $1 million raise. We fund ourselves with high-quality made-in-America T-shirts at made-in1776.com, films, books, materials that edify and wake people up. So please go to the site and get the powerful documentary film, There's No Place Like Utopia by Joel Gilbert. I want to go back to Joel Gilbert now to look at what's happening. How successful has Obama been? Opposition is mounting. What do you expect him to do next? What are you most concerned about? I mean, kind of as a play-by-play, Joel Gilbert, where are we as a society right now from your perspective?
Well, first taking Obama, of course, there's endless commentary for the past several years about his failure as a president, failure in foreign policy, failure in the economy. From his point of view, which is what I've been tracing and documenting in my films, from his point of view, he's been very successful because all of this was an intentional plan from the get-go, bankrupting the country, doubling the deficit, in letting the country be invaded by illegals, which includes tremendous amount of criminals. And here in California, 40% of all prison inmates are illegals. We've got the norteños, sudeños, all kind of gangs. So these are the people coming across the border in addition to Obama's so-called striving immigrants looking to work hard. So this has been the agenda to divide the country, to break up the United States was the dream of the SDS, Weather Underground, and the KGB from the get-go, to allow these forces to maintain power in chaos domestically and the evil bad guys abroad to be able to extend and project their power without American influence in their way. The agenda of the Islamist movement, whether it's ISIS or Iran, is the same as the Marxist movement. They have a lot in common, and that's why they work together. They both view Western capitalist systems, free markets, free speech, as the #1 obstacle to taking power. Therefore, together, they view Western society as the #1 target on the path to salvation. In Islam, worldly events are an affirmation of faith. therefore Iran attaining a nuclear weapon and being able to not necessarily even use it, just use it as a strategic umbrella to continue their hegemony through taking over of country by country in the Middle East, whether it's Yemen, extending their influence to Lebanon, Syria, and elsewhere.
It's a signet of power.
It's a way, if you have a nuclear capability, you can then, your conventional forces have free reign because no one will attempt to stop you. So the Obama agenda, unfortunately, according to, from Obama's point of view, is unfolding very, very successfully. He's divided the country along economic lines.
I agree. Obama has been a devastatingly successful globalist socialist. And then you've got the big money banks funding him, thinking that once there's a tyranny, everybody's fighting for the Ring of Mordor. All these different special interest groups, they're all supporting tyranny because they think they're going to get greater power out of it, when instead it's destroying stability and destroying a future for humanity. I mean, it's so sick.
Unfortunately, people don't realize that the utopia on Earth is America before Barack Obama, America as a constitutional government with free markets, free speech, limited government. This is as close to utopia as we can get on Earth.
Look what our country produced. Most of the patents, most of the devices, higher standard of living, highest rates of savings. And as soon as we left free market, we become a hell pit. Most unhealthy, highest debt, highest, I mean, all sorts of problems.
Exactly, but Obama has to lie about it. Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, now the entire Democrat Party, they cannot justify radical change if everything is going great. If we have free markets and independence and a great economy, they have to tell us that everything is broken. Immigration is broken. Everything is unfair. Everything is unequal. And their solution is give us the power and we'll make it right for you. We'll fix everything that's broken. Now, the way they fix things that are supposedly broken is they want to completely destroy them so they can rebuild it from scratch, this socialist utopia, which we know from history is nothing but a hell on earth.
That's right. We got a few minutes left with Joel Gilbert here today. Other points you'd like to get across, warnings you'd like to get across to people. And then first, my question. If he's been so successful and he's now power grabbing on every front and the Republican leadership won't block him, what do we do? I mean, remove Boehner? There is a move to do that. How do we get sanity back into Congress?
Well, we were supposed to have a balance of power between the executive, legislative, and judicial branches. Unfortunately, the legislative branch, the Republicans, the establishment Republicans, have capitulated or remained in fear of opposing Obama. This has been a colossal failure of the balance of power system. The judicial branch has done almost nothing. We have a little potential halt in the legal immigration grab policies of Obama in Texas. But by and large, the balance of power system has fallen by the wayside against Obama's executive power grabs on onslaught on every level. So I think the best and perhaps only and last hope is to replace the Obama with a strong conservative president in 2016 that can go about reversing all the damage and all the lawlessness that Obama has brought to America and pull us back together and strengthen the rules and laws so that if a radical socialist were to take power in the executive branch in the future, that he would not be able to overreach and extend a lawless reign in trying to destroy the country.
Well, it's the special interest combined with the socialists that allows this, and so many big corporations are lined up giving money to support a consolidation of power because, again, they think they'll get the Ring of Mordor. We need to throw the Ring of Mordor back into the crack where it came from and stop using it.
They don't, yeah. No, they don't understand. They don't understand to this day. Some people are coming around. Rudy Giuliani came around a little bit. I've talked to many U.S. senators and congressmen who've all seen my film. They know what's up, but it's hard for the mainstream media is unwilling to tell the truth, which is that Barack Obama is a radical.
Well, look at how Giuliani came out and said Obama doesn't like America and is destroying it, which is true. And I'm not even a Giuliani fan. He was, compared to most Republicans, pretty liberal. And then CNN had the headline, "The End of Giuliani, the Fall." It was everywhere. He's horrible. He's discredited. I mean, it's just like they fired from Monday Night Football Hank Williams Jr. because he criticized Obama. This is an anti-free speech cult. And so that's why Congress is so scared of him.
Correct.
Is because they're scared of being, attacked. But the mainstream media doesn't have the power it used to have. It's more a paper tiger whose bark is bigger than its bite. It's toothless. I think people should want to be attacked by the establishment. That's why Rand Paul won in Kentucky, was because they came after him. People need to wallow in the enemy's attacks instead of running from them.
Well, there's only very few politicians that are willing to do that because they're looking to hang on to their job. They don't want to be ridiculed or isolated, which is part of their game plan. But Giuliani told part of the story. Obama doesn't love America. He was raised by radical communists. The other part of the story, if you take it to the next level, is Obama is one of them. Only a radical communist would hate America, would try to destroy America. The biggest story that still has to be told in the mainstream media is Barack Obama is all lies. Everything about his personal background was a lie. Everything about his political agenda was a lie. And the biggest fraud in the history of this country was perpetrated upon the electorate by Barack Obama, backed by the mainstream media that simply repeated all his lies.
You're right. You cannot make up the magnitude of the screw job. I mean, I can't even believe it. I'm supposedly the big conspiracy theorist. I mean, I saw the Washington Post and like 3 other publications last Friday. People were like, give us the FCC takeover document. And they said, oh, conspiracy theorists, you don't get it. So it's a fact they're keeping it secret. It's a fact it gives the FCC control. It's a fact Obama's behind it, and Hillary and Pelosi love it. It's a fact all these other commissioners say that have seen it. It's a power grab. But now we're 5-6 days into this, and we still can't see it. And when we ask for it, we're a conspiracy theorist. I mean, talk about disinformation, Joel.
Yeah, look, Obama's first assault on the Constitution was his refusal to release his birth certificate. When he got away with that, he got away with Fast and Furious. When he got away with not releasing the documents for Fast and Furious, he got away with using the IRS and weaponizing it against political enemies. Because we've never been able to hold Obama accountable for the lack of transparency, for the lies, for the deception, is the reason he just continues on and on. Now
and he's accelerating, federalizing police, opening borders, banning bullets. I mean, that's the last question. What's the next shoe to drop then? I mean, it's incredible. I mean, if he's accelerating towards light speed right now, we're about to really see some incredible power grabbing.
Well, the goal is to create a situation where they can manipulate and control the future elections, presidential elections, congressional elections, to create a permanent socialist state in America, and with people kind of never realizing how it happened. Nobody voted for any of this. All of Obama's policies were an agenda that he hid from the public. He threw his voters under the bus, including all the African Americans.
Double unemployment. Notice now Google announces they're going to let Snopes and other groups connected to Soros decide what's credible and isn't, and basically delist websites. You know they're talking about us. So they're coming after everything right now, folks. You better promote the film, No Place Like Utopia, but get it, show it to people. You better support Infowars.com and send people the links to the show, because we're not going to have Google and the search engine doing it. We're being shut down right as we grow and explode, because we can beat these people. But nothing can stop HUMET. Nothing can stop human intelligence if you promote InfoWars and other liberty-based media every day to your friends and family and others, and do creative things. Nothing can stop people power. Let's kick these communist, globalist butts together. Joel Gilbert.
My point then is simply that middle America, church-going, hardworking people will never buy into the progressive agenda. And the left has known this from the get-go.
Better clingers. They're coming after us. They're going to call us terrorists.
Right. So their entire agenda from the get-go was to eliminate the middle class, destroy the connection between religion and society, destroy the health care, destroy the voting power of middle America that supports the Constitution and the free market system. Everything Obama is doing is an assault on middle America, an attempt to degrade and destroy it, to pave the way for their control of information.
That's right. When he's hanging out with billionaires in San Francisco, he says, we're going to get these better clingers. We're going to, I mean, we are their enemy.
Exactly. This has been the plan from the get-go. Everything is meant flooding the country with illegals, It's meant to degrade middle America that they know will never buy into the progressive
nonsense. It's a military operation. Cloward and Piven. Joel Gilbert, folks should get the film, or they just don't care. I mean, it's not even about the money, folks. I know it's free on the internet. Some people, I mean, you just need to get the DVD, give it to friends and family. Every tool to wake folks up that capitalism, freedom of choice, free will is under attack by a bunch of snot-nosed totalitarians. And if we don't stand up and say no to them, we deserve what we get. Joel Gilbert, thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to come back with phone calls in 2 final segments.
More and more people are discovering the incredible benefits of alkalizing the body, and there's no better product for it than AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops. Packed with a powerful combination of the most alkaline minerals and compounds, just a few drops in water will rid your body of harmful waste and give you more vibrance and vigor than you've had in years. Now buy 2 bottles and get $10 off your order. Call 800-518-7615 or visit alkavision.com. Alkalize your body. Supercharge your health at alkavision.com.
We've been patiently waiting while you tried to ignore us, waiting while you acted like we didn't exist, waiting for our chance to be taken seriously. The wait is over. GCN is available 24/7 at GCNlive.com. Navigate through news from your favorite hosts and download archives of past shows. Download the app on your smartphone or tablet or visit GCNlive.com for instant access and live streaming. GCNlive.com, the future of talk radio, now at your fingertips.
Hi, folks. Alex Jones here with some important information. I want to tell you about Matt Redhawk and his team of patriots over at My Patriot Supply. Several years ago, Matt was sitting in his 2-bedroom apartment, frustrated with the direction this country was headed and the charlatans willing to sell us out for a quick buck. Deciding to take action, a company run by patriots for patriots was born. My Patriot Supply has never taken a loan or accepted outside funding. They now operate 2 distribution facilities and employ over 50 hardworking American men and women. It is rare to find companies who practice what they preach. And that's why I stock my pantry with high-quality storable foods from My Patriot Supply. Go to mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today for special offers on emergency food storage, or call their preparedness specialist at 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927. Do business with someone who shares your values. mypatriotsupply.com/Alex.
Hey, Boomer! I learned in school today that 60% of our bodies are made of water. Good thing we have the Berkey system. It's the cleanest, best water ever. Mom says it's because the Berkey's filtration system cleans out the bad stuff and leaves only pure, delicious water. I know, right? You love it too. Yeah, I'm thirsty too. Let's go get some. Get Berkey clean water by calling 877-886-3653. That's 877-886-3653. Or visit GoBerkey.com.
It's happening again. The feds are trying to ban your freedom to own body armor. In January, a newly introduced bill, H.R. 378, will take away your right to buy Level 3 and higher body armor. Katie Armor offers the most affordable Level 3 body armor packages on the market today. Protect yourself. Buy your body armor now before it's too late. Go to katiearmor.com. That's CATI armor.com. Come and take it.
No more Mr. Nice Guy, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to the globalist. We're stuck between a rock and a hard place, but we've got the truth, and if we get it out there, their agenda will fail, will fall. That's why they're trying to accelerate it and finish it up, because they can feel the heat. The article's on Infowars.com. Bugs and mold, Michelle Obama's school lunches continues to discuss. And you look at this food, the bugs, the mold, the portions, and then the fact that it's like Doritos with MSG, and it's just so rotten. This is what they feed the kids. They put this on their plates. This isn't like they dug around and found a few rotten things. This is worse than prison food, because this is what we are thought of, because we're so passive and we put up with the globalists, who, if you go to Whole Foods and places, a lot of nice folks work at Whole Foods. I'm not bashing Whole Foods. But you see the magazines and things, it's all about learning how to be poor, learning how to have less, while they charge so much, you know, Whole Foods, whole paycheck. This is the mentality. You can't have air conditioning, you can't have a car from a guy landing in Air Force One. Let's go to some phone calls. Steve in Virginia, thank you for holding. You're on the air.
Yes, thank you. We're longtime Prison Planet subscribers. We really love the show. I wanted to say something about Netanyahu. You know, it's a sad day in America when to me, these useless people in Congress stand up and applaud someone who, in I think 2002, I have a quote. As far as I know, this is accurate. Netanyahu said, "America can dry up and blow away with the wind when we have finished with it." America can dry up and blow away with the wind when we have finished with it. Now, that's not to me, the quote from a friend. And I think.
Let me ask you this: do you have video of that? I mean, what's the source of that? Because I see these quotes. I see these quotes about myself that I didn't say. I'm not. I mean, what's the source of that?
We got it on the internet here. I have it says Veterans Today. It says Netanyahu for President of America, Veterans Today.
Yeah, you know, that's a great named website, but I'm just gonna leave it at that. I mean, that's consider the source of that. But I'd like to. What's their source of it? Where'd it come from?
Their source. Do you have their source on it? I'm not sure. I don't have it at hand. It was CIA. Oh, okay. Yeah, the story is that it was an ex-CIA person who overheard him in a conversation.
Yeah, I mean, you know that site criticizes me too, right?
You know, I did not know that.
I mean, I don't care. It's just I don't mind. Please, more of it. It's just that a lot of these sites, claim I'm an Israeli agent. I've never been to Israel. I've never. I was basically approached by a famous member of Israeli intelligence who came to my office and was a little bit threatening. But other than that, I have no connections to Israel.
Yeah. Well, we think, I think you'd mentioned it earlier, referred to the globalists, I guess they're working for the globalists, or I should say the Israeli leadership.
Well, sure. All I'm saying is, brother, is that if Israel dried up and blew away tomorrow, all this stuff would continue on. It's evil in the human soul that is causing us our problems, and that's what I'm getting at. But there's a lot of legitimate criticisms of Israel. Let me give you one. Israel has race laws where if you're a worker, contract skilled worker in the country, German, Vietnamese, doesn't matter, you are arrested and deported if you have sex with a Jew. Now, that's a fact. Now, the very same political correct groups support that in Israel, but then tell everybody, here, a socialist agenda, and men are bad, men shouldn't wear pants, and women should be the boss of everything. So my problem is Israel's got some arcane things that go on there that I don't agree with. And it isn't because I'm against Israel in general. It's just that that's going on. So see, and you can look up what I just said. You can look up. I just don't ever really hear any real criticism by the real anti-Semites out there. They make stuff up. I mean, Photoshop, you name it. It just is a bucket of baloney. Thank you, Steve. We'll be back with more calls. Stay with us. Sean and others. Tom, you name it. We're going to go to everybody.
This is GCN, the Genesis Communications Radio Network.
Alex Jones here. For the last 2 years, I've been working with top doctors, nutritionists, and chemists to design a nutraceutical formulation that has truly life-changing health benefits. So many other formulations out there contain toxic ingredients, synthetic additives, and even GMOs. Introducing the all-new Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Blend, crafted with over 14 key ancient herbs and extracts to supercharge and prepare your body for what experts admit is the most dangerous season of the year. We have rejected hundreds of other formulations in our quest to bring you what is simply the most powerful and comprehensive proprietary formula that we have ever created in the realm of herbal immunity. Experience the benefits of combining over 14 ancient herbs and extracts with exciting new advances in nutraceutical science. Now is the time to secure Ancient Defense for you and your family. Visit InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
The Genesis Communications Radio Network proudly presents The Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
We got some good news up on Twitter at Real Alex Jones. Are processed foods really on their way out? Kraft Foods, Kellogg's, and others including McDonald's, are in deep financial trouble. So is Coca-Cola. And people are voting with their dollars. That's where the real revolution is. Sean in Texas. Sean, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks for having me, Alex.
Welcome. Go ahead. Thank you.
I just wanted to make one good point when it comes down to the conversation you were having with Joe when it comes to climate change. And this is a lot of BS and everything that's going on with them pushing CO2 and wanting to do the carbon taxes. And it's like, you know what? You know, the world's been going through cycles for many, many generations, sun cycles and everything else that y'all are talking about. And there's a great platform out there where people can actually look at the government information that they put out. And there's a lot of people actually come back on the forum and say, hey, you know, we're getting disinformation on some ends, we're taking away information and a lot of stuff. When you present it to us in the mainstream media, is not making sense from the data.
Well, sure, if you even go to NASA's own satellites, it says the Earth's cooling, and then it gets on the news, they say it's warming, but that didn't work. So now they just say, hey, how dare you, Alex, or Lord Monckton, say the Earth doesn't change? And we're like, we didn't say that. So see, they flipped it from man-made global warming to change, period, is evil. And that we're denying there's change. I mean, it's very childish propaganda.
Well, you know what? There's people out there fighting it. You know, along with Joe, I want to introduce a lot of people to a guy named Ben Davidson. He runs a website called Suspicious Observers, and he puts out a lot of this information and gives a great perspective that I believe if you go in and research or to have your guys.
Yeah, we'll check it out, brother. Thanks for the tip. Obadi in Boston. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. You're on the air on BB Speech. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex, how's it going?
Good, brother. Go ahead.
Yes, so I mean, on a couple points I want to touch on. First of all, being the Netanyahu speech today, you know, I do think there's a lot of nuance and everything is like multifaceted, as you were saying before. Not, you know, it's not black and white. However, with Netanyahu being involved in, you know, the project for the New American Century, I think it's called, with Jack Bush and everyone else, you know, orchestrating 9/11.
Absolutely. If you look at the PNAC documents and you look at who's involved, it's a bunch of Israeli operatives. And clearly they were involved with Saudi Arabia and up to their eyeballs in 9/11. We talked about it earlier, absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that it's, you know, Jews who are behind everything or that Israel's behind everything.
But there is a Jewish mafia involved in a lot of the criminal operations.
Exactly, and if you want to get like a little bit metaphysical with it in terms of, you know, biblical and stuff like that, to that component, whether or not, you know, for the reason that they don't see Jesus as the Messiah, will they, you know, openly embrace the Antichrist? I think that's something to explore because of the funding of the
Yeah, because the Bible actually says a false leader will come and it'll be in Jerusalem being worshipped. So now if he shows up, people will say that we've got to worship Israel, so it must be Jesus, and that'll be the great deception. I know, it's very complex and very scary.
You know, I think that, you know, not only with the whole thing being driven between the West and Islam, I think it's that Israel kind of almost wants to emerge from the nuclear holocaust and actually kind of get it started with their beef with Russia and kind of using America, not just Israel using America, but others in that globalist party are kind of bringing things to a head in order.
That's right. They're in all the nations playing us off against ourselves. It's a conspiracy of the devil against humanity, and that's what I'm trying to get at. It's evil in the minds and hearts of men and women, and it's good in the minds and hearts. That's the real manifesting battle. We're the pawns on the chessboard. Great point, sir. I'm going to jam in one more. Chad in Washington. Sorry to the others.
Hey, Alex. Just speaking with what Lord Monckton was talking about earlier, I just would really like it if he would bring up climate engineering and, you know, the stratospheric aerosol ejection.
Next time he's on, I'm going to get Nico and folks with good memories to have me bring up how does geoengineering come into it, because even the London Guardian admits that could be hurting the weather.
Yeah, and, you know, I've done a lot of research into it, and that's basically my thing, is trying to expose it for what it is.
Absolutely. Got to jump. Sorry. Tom, I'm going to give you 20 seconds. State auditors dead in Missouri. What's going on?
That's right, Alex. He was the governor's candidate also. That happened Thursday. He had called about 9:40 in the morning to the newspaper to set up a press release, and about 10 minutes later, the police were responding to a gunshot wound.
That's happening more and more. We'll look into that. Thanks for the tip.
If the IRS has garnished your paycheck or seized
with unexpected challenges, unlock the energy it takes to defeat these daily beasts with super male or super female vitality, specifically designed to